You're listening to Smart to Death Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the mic, hailing from just outside Philadelphia, the can't miss speculist, Big Paws on a Pup, J.P.Q.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of No Particular Angle. I'm your host, Big Paws on a Pup, JPQ, and Stardom is coming back. Ladies and gentlemen, we kind of hinted at this last week. We've kind of been waiting for this announcement since Bushiroad and New Japan came out and said they're coming back with the New Japan Cup. We knew from social media that, Julia was getting her hair did and Utami's working and there's more traction from the wrestlers of Stardom than there has been in the last 10 weeks. And so we kind of hinted at, we knew that Stardom was on the horizon. And then sure enough, this morning, the day of this recording, which is the day before, 6 a.m. or so, boom, there it is. Stardom comes out and says, hey, we're going to do a show. We're not going to announce the card, but you will see us this Sunday, June 21st. And then you will see it uploaded to stardom-world.com within the next couple hours, next couple days, and that's very exciting. So I threw out the agenda for this week, and I just want to talk Stardom. I want people to hashtag watch Stardom. I want people to hashtag talk Stardom. And if I want to talk Stardom, I want to do it with a new friend of mine. This cat and I have gone back and forth on a couple of different mediums, and the one thing I will tell you is he knows his shit, and I'm a big fan. It's the host of the Bigg Egg Podcast. And if you haven't checked that out yet, make sure you do, especially if you're into Actwres or you want to learn more about Actwres, hashtag watch_AWG. I got Kay on the phone. Kay, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Okay, man. I'm excited to be doing this. Momo Watanabe. No, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get to her. Stardom's coming back, man. How you feeling about it?
I'm excited, man. It's been a long 4 months, was it? Like off there? About 4 months?
Yeah, long. You take out for the Cinderella tournament, and you're going back to Saki's No People Gate. That was the last show, but that was before the people.
Yeah, no people, man. She's such a draw, isn't she?
You know what? People say that joke but if they can't take away from her is that she main evented, and that trumps people. I mean, yeah, she's not a draw, but she never was, so that's not new information.
Well, mine was supposed to be a draw. Mine was supposed to be a draw too, and there was nobody there. So,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the comeback that everybody ignores is that Mayu didn't draw anybody either. She's your champion. So I didn't know Saki was supposed to bring the people in.
Yeah, right. That's Mayu's job, man. She's the champ.
She's the champ. Thank you. Yes, Kay. I like you playing the face card because on Discord it might be a different story.
It might be.
But no, I'm glad that we're doing this. Glad we're talking about it. Yeah, we're looking at better part of 3 months coming into this, at least since No People Gate. 12 weeks almost with Cinderella semi in the middle. What are you looking forward to most come the 21st?
Just kind of see where they're gonna go, given like all that's happened. I think it's probably the biggest thing on everyone's mind is kind of where do you go now, given not just the lockdown, but sort of like Arisa and then Hana, and just how do you go from there? That's sort of like a thing. That's sort of the first thing on my mind, at the very least.
Isn't it the craziest thing? The craziest thing about Stardom, they are the most. They've been out a decent amount of time, but unlike other wrestling promotions that have also kind of been on the shelf, there's been a lot of things outside or away from the ring that have been newsworthy, right? That have had us talking about them, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. And now they're coming back, and it's now going to be back to being a wrestling promotion, and in my opinion, the best wrestling in the world, best wrestling shows, most consistent wrestling shows in the world. But it's a different product. It's a different promotion, isn't it, than it was 3 months ago?
Very different. It's almost like I don't even know if they're going to be the same sort of. Well, they're obviously going to be the same Stardom, but are they going to really be like the same? I mean, they kind of can't be, can they?
No, you certainly can't be. You know, and you're right though. It's gonna be the same, but it's gonna be different. And how are they gonna respond in light of the events that happened in the last 12 weeks, as well as, um, you know, how do they go about addressing it? Like we know it's not. We know there's gonna be a memorial show. We know that the memorial show is where a lot of the catharticness and is going to happen
Yeah,
with a lot of us. And we still have Arisa's retirement too. You know what I mean? Like to at some point, whether they
at
do that
some
the same,
point.
which I can't imagine would be the same night, right?
I
Um,
imagine I don't know if they'll even do it at this point. They might just kind of let her
they,
kind of
they could
go.
just bail. Yeah, they could just
Yeah,
bail.
I think that might be what Arisa might want too.
Of course, yeah. Why not? Especially with today's developments, you know. And
Yeah, yeah,
so
definitely.
people need to stop being dicks
I know,
online.
right?
That's
Like
just
she has cute stuffed animals. Let her have that. I mean, Maki Ito has the same thing. No one makes fun of her for it.
right, exactly. It's you find reasons to be a dickhead. Stop being a dickhead out there,
Exactly.
everybody. My goodness. You know, be dickheads to friends, people you know. Don't not to strangers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, so we were right. We might not even get an opportunity to celebrate Arisa right off the bat. Obviously she shouldn't come first, but you
No,
know, like
definitely not.
that's completely in the air for the future. But yeah, then you got Hana's memorial service, but the show on the 21st isn't going to be that.
No, I wonder
So
how they're gonna structure that though. That card is gonna be interesting. Like, how do you structure that kind of card now? Do you just have a bunch of like 6 people tags, just kind of like throw things together? Like, I don't know how you would even go about putting that card together.
I think it's a lot like New Japan's show on Monday, right? It's just a way of getting everybody back in the ring and getting the rust knocked off of them. You know,
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. It's faction wars. It's a couple tag teams. It's utilizing the entire roster because you're probably not gonna. I mean, you're not gonna have B and Jamie over
yeah,
to do
definitely
anything with
not.
the tag team. So I'm sure we will see, you know, Hinarina, Ruaka, and Itsuki, and then Saya Aida doing something in probably the first 2 matches. I mean, they're probably going to be with main roster people. Like, that would be a good spot for like Starlight Kid to kind of plug in there and be the leader of that match and shit.
Maybe bring Hanan back in. Maybe she's ready
Yeah.
finally.
Oh,
I mean,
Hanan would be nice.
she's got that new gear. I think a while back, the only thing I remember from why she stopped was something about school. I remember Kagetsu giving her something on social media about her saying that she's skipping her schoolwork to wrestle. I
Right.
remember that. Like, Kagetsu scolded her on social media for it.
Good leader, and that could get to.
Yeah, she's like, listen, kids, stay in school. Wrestling comes second,
Yeah,
right?
right. Exactly.
Go
Priorities.
ask Azumi, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure.
God, Azumi's still in high school.
Hmm. Yep. I think she's got a year left. I think what SLK's just got out,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's okay. Just got out.
Yeah. So, you
That's
know,
crazy. I wonder what they're gonna do with her going forward. I mean, she turns 19 in like a month or so, doesn't she?
something like that. I don't know when her actual birthday is, but yeah, I think it's 18 going on 19. She's ready to take that next step. We talked about this not too long. Obviously, Azumi's on a better trajectory right now.
Oh, definitely.
Huge and great 5-star run for her last year, and then she got her first taste of real gold in the trios Artist of Stardom Championship titles in Queen's Quest. So you
She
know
held those
she's
before though. She held those before with what was it?
it was
Io
the
and
her
Hazuki.
Hazuki and
Hmm.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was like right
That was so
after
long
Momo got
ago.
hurt.
That was so
Well,
long
yeah, it
ago,
was very
man.
long ago. Very long ago. And she ate the pin and they lost almost immediately.
Yeah,
So
right. And then she couldn't figure out SLK in any of the future titles. So
no.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't look at. You're right though. It's certainly not her first, but it's like her, Momo, and Utami. It's like she's a formidable third partner there, right?
Well,
Her,
now she is.
Hazuki,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Io. I don't know, man. It seems just
Especially
like
because she was like 15 at the time. She was
she was
definitely
like
like,
15,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the
you're eating the
depth
pin.
back then was not great. You know, it's like
No,
you had
no,
like
she's
four
definitely
or five people.
definitely different.
Yeah, well, she was at the lower rung for sure, but I mean, just the depth in general in Stardom. You know, that's why Io had all the belts for so long, is because you know that. I mean, look at it to now compared to now. It's
Oh
like
yeah, definitely. It's
just
so different. It's like
right,
a night and day.
night and day different.
Completely different. I mean, just from 2 years ago, they're just a different company. They
Well,
feel
that's
different.
true.
They look different.
I mean, when Io left, I mean, Kyrie hurt, but then when Io left, it was like the dark days were coming. You know, we were like, ah, shit.
Oh, and we saw some of that too. The first the first month that
The
Io had
month
left,
validated it. We were like, oh
like
shit, we were right.
like she left. She left to go to WWE and got rejected, and that month was brutal to look
Oh,
at. It's like, man, like Azumi and Hazuki just getting beat up on. There was no
yep.
direction. I mean, who's your top star? Mayu was hurt.
We
It's like,
thought Queen's Quest was
man,
over.
I thought
Queen's Quest.
Stardom was over. I
That's
mean,
true, that's fair.
I wasn't watching at that point, but looking at it, I would have thought Stardom was over. It's like you've got no one, no one's at the top. It's just a giant vacuum, and no one there to fill it.
Yeah, I
Like
don't
even
think.
Momo was hurt at the time, so you couldn't really build her up like you did later.
Mm-mm.
Nothing was there.
No, the Mayu was in and out. Kagetsu wasn't certainly where she was
Oh, definitely
when she left.
not.
Yeah,
She was getting there,
it was
but she
great. Yeah,
definitely
no, she
wasn't
was definitely on the
there.
rise, sure, but she certainly wasn't there. Yeah,
And
the
then
death back then.
Mayu's hurt. And
Mayu was
just,
her.
oof.
It was always her. You know, what's funny is that her neck's made of rubber. It's the rest of your body that you got to worry
I
about.
know, right? It's like her knee and her arm and her shoulder. It's like, Jesus, girl, calm down.
Poor girl.
Like, oh, I hope
But
she takes it easy, man.
yeah, I do. And you know what? It's like I don't like that COVID happened, obviously, you know, but if you find yourself in a position where you're off for 10 weeks, it's like I root for the Mayus of the world, you know, because it's like the first real time for a lot of these wrestlers that they've had an opportunity to get rest and get healed from nagging injuries and things like that. And, you know, it's like obviously like why it happened sucks, but the fact that they're stay at home, you know, for 10 to 12 weeks, it's like, okay, well, we should see some pretty interesting recoveries from a lot of different wrestlers, but Mayu specifically,
Maybe.
she can
Yeah.
get some durability back. Um, Especially because being the champ, she doesn't have to work a crazy workload either. Like, man,
Yeah.
that would be amazing.
It was also a double-edged sword when you think about it. It's like they had so much time off. I wonder if their bodies aren't adjusted anymore for wrestling, and they gotta try to get back in shape. And then, like, I don't know if you played any sports, but like I used to play a lot of baseball, and when you spend so much time off, getting back, you find that you can get hurt even easier than if you were continuing to do it because your body's just not back in that shape anymore. You pull
Sure.
muscles, you can rip things. It's just not. That's what I think is what I'm more concerned about overall at the point when them coming back is how much time they got practicing. Are they gonna be able to get back in shape and not hurt themselves? Because God knows
Yeah.
they don't need any more injuries or any more people out.
I think Mayu will be fine. I think Shori will be fine. I think Julia will be fine. But you're right in the sense of like, you know, Tam's pretty much been dating everybody on the internet at the same time. Is
Yeah,
she gonna
something like
be
that.
right? Is she gonna be where she needs to be come Sunday?
Oh,
Maybe.
she didn't jump out that window yet.
Right.
That
Like,
window is looking. It's like, man, Tam wants to escape, but she just eyeballed that window.
my goodness, it's still like my most interested storyline on all of Twitter, and there's been a lot of fun Joshi stuff over the course of this quarantine. But A, thankfully, it's all coming to an end. But B, it's like you know, you go check in on Tam, and it's like, oh wow, like okay, like
She's
today we
cooking now. Okay.
yeah, she's cooking, she's blinking, she's like, you know, she fed the camera the one day, and I'm just like,
She's
what?
chewing on ice. She's chewing
Yeah,
on ice. Like,
that happened. I was like, what? You know, she's just laying there once. The blinking one at the beginning was always the one that kind of stuck with me, where I'm like, why is she just, what am I watching? What is this 45 seconds that I'm watching? Anyway, so Tam's doing that. She's doing her own thing. Hey, good for her. I mean, I talk about her almost every show, and I'm not even a fan of what she's doing really right now.
well,
And
don't tell that to her though.
right, but I got to talk about it because my God, you know, it's like it's it's incredible. You know what I
It's
mean?
crazy.
Not for
She's
me,
definitely
but
got people talking about her.
that's she's keeping buzz. She's staying relevant, just like Shuri. You know, and she's doing all she was doing all the dance stuff at the beginning and turning into workout videos. And then obviously she's you know she is the tag team partner of Hikaru Shida. So they've had a lot of fun interactions back and forth that Shida's gone on
Oh
her
yeah,
AEW.
definitely.
So she stayed in it too. I think Julia's done a good job. And I think yeah,
Julia's
a whole.
Julia's shit talking game is great.
It's
Like
so good.
this. Oh gosh, she made me a fan. Like I was a fan in Ice Ribbon, and then I sort of fell off with her push, but she just turned me right back around. The Tam stuff, man, that was
Right.
good.
That
The
was good.
makeup and the hair, it was
Mhm.
great. Doing it on live stream too was even funnier.
The thing about Julia that's so interesting is that, and we kind of get bored with I mean, we like dominant factions, and so that's what DDM is right now, and that's great. But you're right, she was a lot of fun and Ice Ribbon. Then it was a weird
She
way
was.
she came into Stardom, and then the program with Hana was great. It was what it was, we all kind of saw what was coming, and then we got the playoff, which didn't really wasn't a payoff at all at year end, and then they both kind of went their own separate ways to go fight another day down the road. That and then
Yeah,
DDM
something
just
like
kind of takes
that.
off. Yeah, DDM just takes off, and it's like this is just who they are. Okay, it was really Cinderella, where it was like she left, they left. Julia started talking shit. They come back. She ends up beating Shuri, and then ultimately ends up winning the damn thing. And then they leave again, and then she continues to talk shit. And
I
so now
know
they're back.
it's just great. It's
It's
great.
awesome. It's just like she doesn't need to be in the ring, which is what we've always said about Julia. It's she's not the best in ring. Okay, well, one, she's only been wrestling for like 18 months, so we got to cut her a little slack with the
A
in
little
ring work,
slack. But she's
just a
not
tad.
bad. She's
Certainly
not
not bad.
bad.
Not bad.
I'd put her slightly above some people. Yeah.
She's not leading a match, but she does
No,
a fine
definitely
job
not.
following. Yeah, but she does a fine job following, and but she always got elevated because of her personality, her charisma, and her ability to translate her character into something that the fans want. Well, she did that over this 12-week break.
She
To your point.
did.
I'm more invested in her now coming into what Stardom is going to be moving forward than I was, at No People Gate. You know what I mean? Like I'm a
Yeah, like
way more.
man, I'm like, man, I just want to see Julie go in there, grab the mic, say something to Tam, and then walk away, and just watch Tam not know how to respond.
Oh, and Tam doesn't know how to respond most of the time anyway. So
Oh,
it's like,
she just kick people like she did Arisa.
that would be the best. That's Tam at her best. Tam when she lets her kicks go, she's the best.
Oh yeah, she's got some of the like I think her. Well, now that Arisa's not there, I think her and Momo have like the best kicks. They have a thud to them. It's great. It's like lead.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree. Definitely those two. I'd probably put Momo over Tam.
Oh yeah, I
But I
would
love Tam.
slightly, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It
Yeah,
is like
I
a
think Tam's doing good for herself. I wouldn't go so far to put a major belt on her. I feel like there's a lot more people I'd put ahead of her at the moment.
Well, that's a good segue. Let's jump into that. So we got Wonder of Stardom title up for grabs. Arisa retired over the quarantine period, and first of all, we love Arisa. So
Oh
Arisa, if
no,
you're
yeah,
listening to this,
definitely.
we love you. You are loved. So just know that. But we got a Wonder of Stardom title. We have Julia, who's pretty much called out and said that she was going to take the title off of Risa. Now, I guess they can pivot her and she can say, well, she was only worth my time, but now I'm going to go after Mayu. And I guess that's okay. I guess that's an easy way of doing it.
Maybe.
But she's still in the picture as of now. Look, if I'm her and everything that we just said about her, like, I'm letting them do whatever it is tournament, number one contendership, battle royal, like they did with the draft, whatever. And I'm just sitting in the wings waiting. Like, I'm not getting involved in any of this crap. You know what I mean? And I'll just
Yeah.
battle who I assume that's probably what they're going to do with her.
So I think that they're going to do it some kind of like a four-way sort of tournament thing, maybe like a two on two, and then like a one-on-one final. I think they're gonna do something like that for the belt, and I think Julia's winning it. I had Julia winning it when she won the Cinderella. I was like
Hmm.
they're pushing her like they pushed Arisa the year before, and like they
Sure.
pushed Momo the year before that, with the winning the Cinderella and then challenging for the white belt, like catching fire before the Cinderella, in the case like Momo and Julia, a little bit less of a reset at the moment at that point, but and then winning the white belt. I had pegged almost immediately. I was like, they're doing the rinse repeat Momo story with the Cinderella again.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was gonna be Tam. I don't think Tam was even gonna get a second defense. I think a lot of people thought that because of the opponents that Arisa was listing out, but I think those were hopeful opponents. Like she had Natsuko, and she had Julia, but she was hoping to get to Tam. I don't think she was ever going to get that far.
Yeah,
Personally,
that's where the converging factor was for me. It was like obviously Natsuko was there just to be there, and then it really became is she going to be able to get past Julia to then lose it to Tam, or is she just going to lose it to Julia? And I sided with your side of thinking more of this is going to be a Julia title after they meet up, because
Yeah, definitely.
they're kind of putting her on that pedestal, right? And that was supposed to set up maybe her and Hana later. Although Hana was in the program with Mayu, so who knows where that I would have gone.
I think the Hana Mayu thing was more of just a banter back and forth. I think they were gonna give Hana the white belt before the red belt.
Because yeah,
I always had that feeling that she was gonna get that before. Like I had her and Utami, I think were the two people. Well, I guess now more Utami, but were that we're going to get. They want them to hold the white belt and then the red belt, so to
yeah,
give them one of the few people that hold both. They kind of makes that jump from one to the other. Because I
I
think
could
they
see it.
put a lot of emphasis on that. That's usually like an important thing for Stardom, right?
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was coming before the events of COVID. I thought it was white belt. Julia beats Arisa. Julia then goes on her run with it, ultimately losing it to Hana at year end. So you had some time to build it, right?
Yeah, definitely not a long reign. You don't want
Yeah.
to do too many of those in a year.
No, yeah, you don't want to do too much. Yeah, because they just didn't back to back like longest ever reign. It was like Santana, then it was Io, then it was Momo, then it was Arisa.
No,
So they,
it was I think it was Bito. Bito was the one that Io took it off of,
that's
and
right,
then
right, right,
like
right. It
and
was
then
right.
Io had it
Hmm.
briefly. Io didn't have it nearly as long as it seems. Like those defenses were like quick
They came quick.
succession.
I guess that's
Yeah,
what I
it's
meant. I
almost
meant
like
more defense. There you go.
they were planning to get her to that record so they can have Momo break it. That
Knowing
was
that she was
definitely the
leaving,
plan from almost immediate.
and knowing that she was leaving too. So
Yeah,
that all
and I
played a
think they
factor.
knew before. They probably knew before she made the
Oh
official
yeah,
announcement. There's no way she didn't give them the heads up this go
100%.
round.
No, she certainly did. She certainly did. And that's why they set up that story the way they did to get Momo over. I thought it was great. But so I thought Hana takes that title at year end, and then the red belt you could have done Hana versus Mayu right now in the interim. I think that's what the Cinderella was supposed to tell with them knocking each other over the top rope together.
I
Um,
mean, you could.
yeah, and then just to keep her busy, right? Just not so that, and she wasn't going to win the title, but she was just to keep her busy a while. Then maybe Mayu versus Aroha one more time, and then finally Mayu versus either Arisa or Utami at year end, and that's where I thought that was headed.
So
Or
it's interesting. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying, or Ota Ward or Carnival, if they brought it back, like whatever, like their big show would have been the back third of the year, and if not that, then ultimately year end. But she would have lost to one of those two, is what I was thinking.
So my thought was, had things not changed like they did, like had Arisa still
Sure.
had she not retired, had Hana not, uh, you know, had the stuff that happened with that, I thought that they were gonna have Julia beat Arisa, and
Hmm.
Julia was gonna have a smallish run, and then Utami was going to win it off of her.
Okay.
And with Mayu, I bought the idea that they were going to try to make this sort of like a legendary run for her, right?
Hmm.
So I thought she was going to hold it at the very least until the year end of 2021, where I
Oh
thought she was
wow.
going to lose it. She was going to either lose it because it's predicated on the idea that I think they're going to change how the 5-star works. So instead of you winning the 5-star, you get to match the next Korakuen. You get to match at the end of the year, kind of like how New Japan does it.
Oh,
I
I
always
like
felt like
that.
that was I feel like that made way more sense than how they did it,
I mean, I love the
anyways.
contract in New Japan, so
Yeah, I think you could do like a similar thing. I think it works way better than their current concept because you can build with that more, right?
of course,
Because I mean,
yeah,
how many 5-star winners have won it and then lost, right? Almost
yeah.
immediately because it's like, well, it's not time for you to end the reign yet, right? So I think you can do that. So with that said, that's sort of what I thought was going to happen. So I thought Momo was going to win the 5-star, and then Momo was going to take it off her at the end of the year that year, right at their 10th anniversary show, sort of deal. That way, it's sort of like the passing of the torch from
Man,
Mayu's generation to Momo's generation now, because looking at how they did the match that they had in January, that's the feeling I got. Like Momo lost, but Mayu put her over so strong that it did. Mayu didn't even mention how much that she defended the belt, more than how tough it was and how she thinks Momo is gonna be a rival for her in the future. I don't think you do that if you don't plan that like that. So I thought she was going to go to Oda Ward, and that Takumi Iroha was the original plan for Oda Ward. I thought she was going to beat Sari, but had Sari not called away, right?
Sure.
It was going to be Sari, and it was going to be Takumi, and she was going to beat Sari, and she was going to beat Takumi, and then she was going to go on, and she was going to have a few other like fluff defenses, right? She'll beat.
Sure. She get Natsuko, gets a picture for whatever reason.
Yeah, she'll beat Natsuko in probably what's going to be a very okay match.
Yeah.
She'll probably wrestle Saki. They'll probably do that.
Woo!
Right? And they'll continue on with that, and then they'll have Momo beat her. And I thought that was how they were going to do it. While at the same time with the white belt, you're going to build Utami. You'll have Utami redrop it to Konami at some point, right?
Sure.
But I feel like you're going to start building like the breaking up of Queen's Quest, right? And sort of how you're going to do with that, right? That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, and I like your thinking with the white belt because it is the more intriguing belt and has been since Momo's run with it, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
But man, I love the more you talk about it, I love the idea of a Mayu 2-year reign.
Well, now I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, not now. Certainly not now. But when you said it before, when it's like you saying like you were talking year-end 2021, right? You're talking a 2-year reign.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very lengthy reign. I thought that was what their plan was gonna be.
That would
they're gonna have her just have a legendary run. And I feel like that probably would have been her last run with the belt. I think they probably were gonna. Yeah. They're probably gonna have her do this huge thing, and they're gonna have her drop it, and she can stay in the front of right. She's always gonna be there.
Right.
But
she didn't lose it. She got hurt.
She doesn't need the belt anymore.
Took her forever to get it back. Got it back. Ran with it for 2 years. Gets to say "I told you so," but now kind of retires from the main event scene to that level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think you could definitely have done that.
Hell yeah!
Now I think things are completely. No, I think things are completely like different.
Well, they need her now. They need her to be the true face. Of Stardom.
I wonder about that. So, with Arisa and Hana not being there, Hana being the bigger blow, right?
Of course.
So if you look at how they marketed everything, right?
The two
people that were in the front of everything were Hana and Mayu. Hana and Mayu, right? But if you look at the four and you expand it out, it's Hana, Mayu, Arisa, and Julia.
Right.
So now you don't have two of those people.
Right.
You have two of those people are gone, and you don't have anybody right now. If you look at who they have at the moment, where they are, you have nobody to fill those slots. Like you can maybe make Utami, sure.
Well, you can make Utami now.
You can make Utami. You can make Momo now as well, right? You can make a few of them.
I hope so. It would be nice to pull the trigger on Momo. I'm trying to hold her back a little bit because I know you and I'll go an hour and a half easy on her.
It's easy.
But
I think the plan. I think any plans you had are just gone. They're off the table.
You're right. You're 100% right.
This year and next year are off the table. You are rewriting everything like immediately. You're trying to figure out how you're going to, one, build 2 new stars to fill those 2 voids. Also, how you're going to build things going forward. Because if you think about it, we're at the position they're in now. They have one person at the tippy top, right? Then they have they have Momo one step slightly below that, right? She's at the top end of the card, but she's not solidified yet, right? She hasn't had her red belt ring like the EOs and her and like Tony, she hasn't had that, right? Or like if she wins it and she loses it, she wrestles again for you, she's believable to win it again, right?
Yeah.
You don't have that, but you have a lot of things bunched up in the middle, and I think if you let that sit, then you're gonna have some bigger problems going forward. Because then it's like the thing with Momo's white belt reign was the attendance wasn't super high, right? For a lot of her shows that she would main event. True. She would get the Korikens and stuff, right? But I don't think that was Momo's fault. I think that was Io's gone, so confidence in Stardom is also low, right? Because Io meant so much to that promotion around those times. Like she was the top end, right? She's big final boss, and you don't have anybody there like that right now. Like Mayu wasn't there in 2018. She wasn't there in parts of 2019 too.
You're right. You had Mayu versus Momo. That was good. She came back. Remember, she came back at.
So with Mayu, I think if you look at strictly at 2018, right? Look at 2018 alone.
You're right. Sure, she was going for like 9 months or something like that. Yeah, no.
The Mayu then isn't now. I think Mayu then was still dealing with confidence issues. She had just
Yeah.
not recently. She had very recently had come back from injury.
Right.
Her EO's
Mhm.
gone. I don't think you put you. That's why I feel like Rossi was smart and not thrusting that upon her. She
That's
was
true.
not ready for that.
Did
She's
win the
not where she is
5-star.
now. I think the Ring of Honor stuff that she did, going to MSG, I think that's where she started building that confidence more, to be in front of the camera more, look less awkward, be
I'll
more
tell you, that certainly was.
outgoing.
Yeah, certainly was a level up from Mayu before New York and then Mayu after New York. I agree with you 100% on that.
A definite level up. I think had they gone with Mayu then, I think you would have been in a way worse spot because I don't think Mayu was ready. I think confidence was low. So I think most people would have seen it as, oh, you went from your number one, so you're just settling for the number two.
Hmm.
You don't have anybody. So that's why I think it was important for them to, hey, she's young, she's like 18, where she's our next star. And I think you don't have 2019 if you don't have Momo main eventing in 2018, right? I think
Hmm.
you don't get that rise back up like that you got, right?
I'll
Because it
tell
was
you, she
gradual.
did a
It was
great job.
gradual.
She got a lot of people over. She really did. I
Oh,
I will never
definitely.
not talk how good that. I did a whole retrospective on like episode like 4 of NPA, Momo's white belt run because you're right. I mean, in that sense, like I'm not gonna say that Momo saved. She wasn't the White Knight to save
Oh no,
Stardom.
she
Stardom,
definitely wasn't. She definitely
no,
wasn't. It
but
was a collaborative effort.
yeah, certainly, but she certainly had an oar and she was pushing the boat forward. You know what I mean? Like she was just as much of a part of that success as
Yeah,
every other
I don't think
any
you
other
could have done
storyline.
that with anyone. I don't think you could have done what you did with Momo with anyone else on the roster. Like certainly
Because
not
you needed
Ozzy.
Kagetsu could have done it, but she had the red belt. She had to
Yeah,
push the world at the time. And then Hana coming up,
she wasn't
leaving.
there. She wasn't there for most of 2018. She was in
No,
Mexico for the vast majority of
yeah,
2018.
and then she came back. That's true. That's a good point. She came back to like the 6 month mark, and then she picked up with OT, and then had the program when she left. And she did everything she did there, or OT, I guess, before she came back with Mary Apache, and did everything after in that little pseudo electronica not thing in the fight with Kagetsu. And
Yeah,
then Arisa wasn't doing much. Saki came back, which is always a plus.
Raisa didn't come back till the back half of that year too. I don't
Right?
think she came back until sometime after the 5 star. I think because
Yeah,
she didn't have singles matches. She
I
had
think
a
it
lot
was
of tag
fall.
matches. Her
Yeah,
first singles match was a thing that wasn't even planned. Like
I
somebody
thought.
had got hurt, right?
Yeah,
And so it became a singles match with her and SLK. So it was like that was again like
was that 18 or was that
Momo.
19?
That was that was
Maybe that was
19
18.
because
Was
it
it
was
19?
before the singles match
It was
that she had with
January,
SLK
right?
was
Yeah.
it was slightly before the 5 star. Because I remember it happened before the 5 star. Because I remember when she won, I mean the 5 star, the Cinderella. Because when she won the Cinderella, I remember people that were against her winning it and winning the white belt pointing that out. Because there were people
Yeah.
that weren't like, contrary to
I was
popular
okay with
belief,
her.
when she
No,
when
I
she when
remember.
she won this when she won Cinderella, not everybody was on board with that because she
Yeah,
was one very very rusty, and two she
remember
had only had one singles match
she was
prior
the
to that.
fourth in stars at in New York. Saki
She
outranked her.
definitely was.
You know what I mean? Like you could make the case because Alex Gracia was there on the sidelines that technically she could have been looked at as the fifth. Because Saki and
Oh,
Alex
I wouldn't have gone
were
that
were tagging
far.
together. I don't know, man. Like I guess where I kind of you're right that I do have some bias towards Saki, so then I would have some bias towards Alex too because shout out to Alex, friend of the show. But it is one of those things where you're right. She was like when she and I always liken it to the outfits hashtag wrestling fashion, but I always liken it to the gray when she wore the gray, the sparkly gray, like she did in New York with the pink and the black and the yellow on it, versus when she
Yeah.
made that switch to the yellow and orange, and that kind of became her staple, and she got that for the Cinderella tournament. That silver and gray Arisa wasn't the best Arisa. She was.
Oh, I'd go further. I think the first orange and white one, that kind of shaggy looking gear with all the drapings on it, that
Sure.
was probably the one she came back with. Looked didn't look impressive. I remember
Well,
looking at
yeah.
the gear, I was like,
Yeah.
man, your song you're coming out to is not impressive. Your look isn't impressive, and then you didn't really
Yeah.
impress me in a tag match. I remember being very, very low on her right off the get. I was like, I
Absolutely.
don't get the hype.
That's
Like
what I'm
she had
saying.
a
She was
cool
the
looking
last.
Brazilian kick, and that's it.
Right.
That's all I remember being.
That's all. You're right. That's all it was. But that's literally all it was.
Yeah.
And then she'd have these matches, and we still said, I remember, because she always had clunkers, even with the white belt, where she would get in there with a different style that wasn't like a quote unquote Joshi style, and she wouldn't be able to mix it up like her and Jamie in the 5-star the first time around. You know what I mean?
I
Like
think
it's just
I think her and Hazuki. I think so. Her and Hazuki. I see a lot of people praise that match. I don't think I ever got out of second gear. I feel like that match could have been way
that's
more
fair.
intense, way
Yeah,
better. But I just never
it was
felt like I got
okay.
out
It
of
was an
second
okay
gear.
match, but you're right. With those two in the ring, especially at the time, they really should have put on a better match.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
they had the potential of putting on a better match for sure. Missed opportunity.
Yeah. And,
Yeah, I'm
and
okay.
I don't hold a lot of it against Arisa. She was still getting her footing. I remember she had
Oh,
one singles match before winning the Cinderella. If you look at all the singles matches she had going into that Hazuki defense, she had like maybe 10, 12 maybe at the best. Like she was
she's
definitely not where she probably was at the end of that run. Like the Tam match gets a lot of like praise, but a lot of that I think I would put more on Tam. Tam made that
damn
match
crushed that
way
match.
more.
Yeah, she
Tam
crushed them.
Tam Tam showed a level of emotional and storytelling that I don't think I've had ever seen from her prior. Like even in her match with Momo, I didn't see that, and that match was great, but it didn't feel like it was raw, right? It didn't feel
Yeah,
like that level of like raw, like I hate you, I want to beat you, in the
true.
manner that the Arisa one was. With Momo, it was like I hate you, I want to destroy you. It was a little bit of a different feel. Like she didn't want to destroy Arisa, she wanted to prove she was better than Arisa. With Momo,
Yeah.
she wanted to sort of destroy Momo because they have that history.
Yeah, no, you're sure that's 100% accurate. I would agree with that line of thinking. Uh, she was, and she's the greatest turnaround in such a short amount of time.
Definitely.
Arisa was, for all the things that we're saying. You're right. They duped us. They pretty much put her, and they said, "Here's what she is." And we went, eh. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh no, just wait. And then boom, when that spark went off, she took off and skyrocketed to number 2 in the promotion. In my opinion, again, she was. Me and the Joshi Pod talked about this at year end last year, where moving into 2020, yes, you look at the 4, Arisa and Mayu were part of that, but because they had the titles and the other two don't really need the titles because they're very more marketable, you don't need the titles to market those two. That
Yeah.
Arisa really was looked at as number 2 in the company when it comes to like the wrestling side, right? And yeah, you push that back a year, and the beginning of 2019, she she might not have had a
Different.
singles match at that point, and look at where
No,
she is
she
going into
didn't. It was
2020.
so
It's
different. Like
amazing. It's
I
amazing.
think the best adage I've ever heard about Joshi wrestling is Joshi moves fast.
It
In a
certainly does.
year's time, it's almost like 10 years time. It's everything is so quick. Things aren't always the same. Well, unless you're Sendai girls, but everything's gonna move faster, faster. Like 1 minute somebody's like undercard, next minute they're mid card and they're winning belts and they're on the rise, and it's wild how Joshi is. I mean, just like you said, for Arisa, just look at that. She comes back the back half of 2018, I believe. Not impressive. Just had a clunker of a tag match with Mayu, where Mayu carried the entire tag match, right? And Risa got in there, and Risa just the Brazilian kick looked nice. Please tag Mayu back in, because it just she didn't look good at all, right? And then she gradually started being okay, or getting okay, kind of gelling more. Then she had that SOK match, which was decent, right? Then she had the Cinderella run, which I think was also decent. I wasn't blown away by any of those matches. The Konami one was good, but the rest of those matches didn't really blow me away. Then she had that match with Momo, and I think that's when I was like, huh. I don't know how much that was Momo, but that was a good match, right? Just the arrogant heel portion of that match with Momo, I think, was great. So that's why I
Hmm.
never knew if I should put that on Arisa as well, or if it was just Momo just being, well, I think Momo is the best in-ring storyteller in Stardom, but I think that sort of was good, and then Tam was good, and then Hazuki happened, and I was like, oh, okay, so you're not that level, right? You're still getting your bearings again. And then I think with the weird thing with Arisa and me is she checks all my boxes, but I never clicked with her. I had a really, really hard time sort of investing myself into her as much as a lot of people were. I was like, yeah, she's impressive. Yeah, she's good. But this, that, and the third about this match. And that's kind of why I was a little more critical on all of her stuff.
Why do you think that is?
I still couldn't tell you. I have no idea. Like I said, she checks every one of the boxes. Kicks, charisma, can do the like a scrappy fighter. Every one of my boxes she checks, and I just couldn't vibe with her. I was always underimpressed by almost everything she did. And I was like, I went through and watched most of her matches more than I've rewatched almost anybody else's matches, including Momo. And I was trying to figure out why I can't click with her. And I just never, I would come with each match with just more critiques of the match than why I couldn't get into her. And I don't know. I just could never understand why.
Mm.
Good
Maybe, well, maybe,
wrestler. I'll never say she's a bad wrestler.
yeah,
I just never clicked.
yeah. Maybe you're watching it too hard. You know what I mean? Maybe those ones
Maybe
that
I don't know.
popping on in the
Maybe.
background and see if like if
Maybe.
while you're doing something if it's if it piques your interest. You know. I think that plays a factor into it. It's easy wrestler to watch. You know, just like there's some people that I watch that I just get, like Saki is a good example. Saki is like somebody that like I'm rooting for her to do a good job every time. You know what I mean? Like I
Like,
want to
oh,
change some narratives.
you got the
Yeah.
pin in this tag match. Good job. Nothing was on the
Exactly
line.
right. That's
Good
100%
job.
right. That's exactly right. That's exactly where I am with her. Like I want a really good showing for her. You know what I mean? I'm like I want you to execute out there. I don't want you to, because I want some of the narratives to go away from a lot of
You're
people.
Rock,
Yeah.
you're like a coach in a corner. Coach in a corner. Like you can do
Exactly.
this, Saki. I believe in you.
You
Get
got
back
it,
in there,
Rock.
kid.
You got it, Rock.
Get back in there, kid. You got this. It's
Uh,
okay. You'll get it next time.
you'll get it next time. Yeah, right. It's always like the towel over their shoulder, like we'll get it next time, sport. You know, it's like, but that's how I look at Saki when I
You
watch
did
her
your
matches.
best out there.
Exactly, but there are certain people, Tam, Momo, um, Mayu. Although I'll tell you that she's on a different level. Hazuki was this way, where it's like they're just casual watches. Like you can watch them, and you can certainly break them down for everything they do, but they make things and they
Yeah.
look so good that like you don't have to. Like you're just enjoying the sweet science in a sense, right? The back and forth, the fluidity to it all, and
I
matches
like the
making
boxing
sense.
reference there.
Yeah, thank you. And so it's like you enjoy the dance in the ring, and I think a lot of I think they have a couple that do that. All of it being the same. So, I think that might play a factor into
Maybe.
if you watch it that way. Maybe you'll get a little different. Maybe you'll feel a little
I'll
different. 'Cause
have
I'm
to one
for
of
that.
these days.
Yeah,
After
just
one of these goes right back and try to go back through her run. I mean, I still want to go through Momo's Wipeout run once they upload all the matches for it again.
I'll
Sort
tell
of
you.
try to relive some of that and see if maybe a lot of that holds up.
Look, there weren't that many pains in the asses with stardom-world.com prior.
Yeah, there were. Took a whole
Yeah,
pandemic for them to finally put 2018 up.
I know. For
They
yo,
still haven't put the Io Mayu 2 match up, but they put the fourth one and the second and the first one up.
I
I'm
know
like, how
they're
do you not put
saving
the
them.
best one?
I don't know what you're right. I don't know what you're saving these for. Like,
Yeah.
why can't I go back and watch Yoko runs? Why can't I go back and watch? And I get like maybe some of them. Maybe there's something like maybe like 2013 is a weird year where they didn't have rights to something or whatever. But man, we had
Yeah.
the whole catalog in December of 2018, and by February of 2019, we've got 20% of all their matches but all the new stuff. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
they've slowly been adding to it, but it's like, man, like I would love to go back and do a show, do a rewind on like the first run of Saki Kashima. Right? I've teased it as
Well, so
much.
it was very short. It wasn't
It
very
was
long.
super short, but she did some nice tag stuff in there, at the
She was a
beginning.
good heel. She was a very good heel.
Yeah, she was
That's why I
great.
like her turning.
Me too. It's huge. It's huge that she turned. But all
She's a
her.
much better heel.
But you could go in there. You could do something on Ayakawa and a couple other people, and it's just like I don't have access to that anymore, and I don't remember it well enough to just kind of speak offhand about it. You know?
Yeah, see, that's where I've been too. Because like,
Yeah.
so I was thankfully my personality is sort of like when I get into something, I dive headfirst into it.
Sure.
So I went through almost that entire back because I got in about April 2018,
Okay.
and I dove into all of it. Like I went, I was like, I'm gonna watch all of Momo. Okay, first match all the way through. I'm gonna watch all of Queen's Quest first match and all the way through. And I did it with
Nice.
like Oedo Tai, Kagetsu, Yuzupon. I did it with so many people. So a lot of my knowledge from that comes from that. But even I have a hard time sort of remembering things. I'm like, man, when Oedo Tai formed, did Act name Oedo Tai? Because I know it was a merger between Act and
Oh, it's forever.
Kyoko's groups, but
Right.
like, who named the group? Where'd the name come from? Why did they have gas masks? I don't know why.
Why are they dancing?
They didn't start dancing until Kagetsu,
No,
really.
right. Exactly. I should
But
say.
I'm glad that they had the back catalog when I first got in, but man, when they got rid of it, I was like, man, a lot of new people are not going to have context for a lot of the history of Stardom. They're going to hear about it, but not be able to watch it. And I really didn't like that idea.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully and look, I know that they're doing a lot of nice things with the new Stardom Dash World. I know that maybe the Bushiroad's going to switch some things around. I know that they're trying to convert the entire library over to English subtitles and things like that because you didn't always have that.
No, you
Um,
didn't.
so I get 100% what they're doing. Plus, they're doing it with a limited staff, and they have for a while, and that was kind of like that information was kind of out
It's
there
like
for
one guy. It's like one
yeah, it's
guy.
one guy. It's Sonny, right? And so
Yeah.
Sonny's just doing it all by himself. And
Well, now he has help though, so
well,
he has
yeah,
help
now he's got a
for
little
the
help.
Bushro thing. But
That's right. So hopefully, and that's kind of where we saw a little bit of a pick me up on some of these. And so hopefully they can continue to do that because I don't care. Just keep it all raw footage for all I can. You know what I mean? Just put it back up there
yeah,
so I can go back and watch it. The search engine worked great back then. Yeah, there was some
search
problems.
engines. Search engine now is like I just tried typing names in and I get like maybe half the results
Right?
at best. Like just go
Yeah,
type Tony Storm in, you get like one match. But there's multiple Tony Storm matches.
it's
Just,
true.
just not tagged it correct. Like I don't.
That probably plays a
It's
factor.
it's it's a
Metadata is great but hard, but easy.
no. Well, also funny thing I found out is so I went through a lot of the old the video files themselves when they put them up,
Uh,
and they didn't change anything. It's just the same video files from the old Stardom world. Like the dates on the files are from the dates that they were uploaded
oh,
back in the day.
really?
So I don't know what. I don't. Yeah. So I'm like, why do you guys just not upload these sooner? It didn't. You're not doing anything. You're not like upping the
Right, you're
resolution. You're
literally
not
just
adding
moving it
anything.
over.
It's just the same files you had on a hard drive somewhere. You could have been doing this, and that's sort of why I got frustrated with that. Like, man, it
Yeah.
took a lockdown for y'all to just drag and drop some video files and upload them.
Mm.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I agree.
I'm glad that it's got most of that up, but man, the
Yeah,
fact that
it's getting better. Certainly getting better.
well,
But I agree with you. If they can get their archives, and the thing is that they're actively putting their archives up, so it's not like we're waiting for archives. It's just you had them 2 years ago. You had all of them, and you could
yeah, all
have
of it.
all of them now. By now, I mean, I was willing to be patient the first year, but we're in year 2 plus.
We're still
Like,
waiting on PayPal.
yeah, right. Still playing with the cards in Japanese. It's crazy.
Man.
But you're right though. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff like that. But it's if I was able to figure out Nico Pro, then I think I was okay. Stardom Dash World was a
Oh.
breeze.
Well, so it's funny you mentioned Nico Pro. Actress Girls has their entire back catalog stuck on that service. I don't know if they'll ever be able to get off of that thing.
Oh
All the way
wow,
from '06. They have like
wow,
they don't have their very first show because their very first
sure.
show was at Ichigaya. Fun fact.
Oh,
Their
nice.
first yeah, Emmy's been using Ichigaya for God knows how long. That's why I'd asked was it Niagara once because I didn't know. I was like, hey, does Emmy own Ichigaya? Because she's been using that thing since like 2006, and she's the only one that uses it. I'm just like nobody else runs wrestling shows in there because nobody else has Gato Move or weird mat wrestling ideas. But yeah, no, they don't have that stuff up there, but they have like early Tsukushi and like Riho, like 9-year-old Riho getting kicked in the face.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
9-year-old Riho kicked in the face. There's yeah, Actress. Yeah, I want you to talk about AWG a little bit because your first episode of your podcast, you went into a nice breakdown. It's a good 40 minutes strong on everything that AWG brings to the party here. You know, why should people be
Yeah.
watching that?
So well, first off, Actors Girls' service. It's a little bit more expensive than Stardom's, but man, it's almost like they had this planned, and I think they did have it planned before the lockdown and everything.
Hmm.
Because like the video player is way too sleek, everything's organized relatively well. They have a search function, they have a tab function. I was like, oh, I want to watch all of the shows from like the Jazz promotion that Tehanma does, right? Just tab it, it's right there. All of the shows they have uploaded. It's great video player. Buffers sometimes, but more often than not, it's the perfect. Um, as for like the Actress Girls wrestlers themselves, I would put Actress Girls as so if anyone watched about 2018, 2019 Stardom, I'd say it's in ring about the similar ish to that, but add a little bit of Tokyo Joshi Pro to it. Add a little bit of that fun flair to it because like they have two factions and one of them's a little more serious and one of them's a little more like TJP but with good wrestling to some extent, right? You have the Colors faction led by another Saki.
Another Saki.
Another Saki.
Although she's ranked
someone
pretty
might
high
say,
over there.
some might say the best Saki. I
Second
don't know
best.
who those people would
Second
be,
best.
but I mean, I might be one of those people because I like that Saki. She's great. It's a cute little dinosaur hoodie too. It's great. I want one. And then beginning is sort of like your Queen's Quest group, right? They're like more serious wrestling. A lot of the title matches happen on those shows. Miyuki Takase, just God, she's crazy. I wish she would stop doing headbutts, but I've seen her like deadlift people that are like twice her size, and it's like Jesus, woman, where do you go to work out? You have Tei Hanma. I'm on record as saying that Tei Hanma is better than Konami. I'm sure anybody
Well,
who watches
she's
Tei
got
Hanma,
her by like a decade. She should be.
well, not in ring wise.
Not in ring wise. You're right. She's only been wrestling for like 2
she's
years or something, but
about a little bit longer than that. She's part of the first class, so she's like 5 years now. About to be
okay.
6 maybe next year. Yeah, she's part of the very first rookie class with Sayori, Natsumaki, now Kakata, Tam Nakano, originally of Actress Girls.
Yep, you're absolutely right. That's how I first heard or learned about Actress Girls. Was I didn't watch it, but I knew Tam was from there.
Yeah, Tam got trained by Yuna Monase.
Yeah.
Yuna Monase from well, now I guess Tokyo Joshi Pro used to also be in Stardom. It's kind of weird how all that sort of circles
Everybody's
around.
kind of been in and out of everything. It's like that's the half the fun of Joshi, is like Aroha, right? Started in Stardom and then now look at her in Marvelous. It's just
Yeah,
they
it's
all
crazy.
they all just kind of work together in a sense. They certainly don't work together, but they all kind of work
No,
together.
definitely not.
Yeah, passing talent a lot through their careers. It's a lot of fun.
No, it definitely is. I'd say like so if anyone's curious about Actress Girls, their service is $10 a month. It's great. And the first show I've always recommended. If you hear other people recommended it, it's probably because they heard it from me or heard from somebody that heard it from me. But watch Act 40. Act 40 is like one of the best Teihonma matches I've seen outside of her match with the Yuki Takase from earlier in 2019 or later in 2019. But that Sayoriano versus Teihonma match is just gold. Like, why I say Teihonma is a better submission wrestler than Konami is because she works on the arm the entirety of that match. She will kick the arm. She may not work on it every second of every part of that match, but she'll make sure she goes back to remember it. Whereas Konami forgets. She'll work on the arm beginning of the match, and like halfway through the match, she just doesn't even bother until like the end of the match. And that's a lot of what Konami does these days. But with Tay, it's like, oh, my finisher is an arm bar. I'm going to wound your arm, and if it so happens you can't do your finishing German suplex, that works too. And that's sort of the genius of that match, because Sayori's one of her big moves is just like really nice, like hook German like thing that she does with a really nice bridge, and she can't do it when she can only use one arm. So it's one of the best matches. Has like a really good Yumika Hota. I don't know if anybody knows her from like AJW and Joshi Legend. She's kind of their version of Aja Kong. She's kind of like the big legend wall for all the wrestlers to try to overcome. And she has a really nice match with Hikaru Shimizu that's on that same card. Just from top to bottom, I think that card's a nice representation of what Actress Girls is. From the opening tag with Miyuki Takase and Himika Rita versus Momo Watanabe and Ayumi to like just that Hoda match to just top to bottom. It's a good card. It's a good first starter card. And, I love Actress Girls. They're
Nice.
my favorite promotion. Definitely won me over quickly as soon as I imported that first DVD. Because that used to be how you could watch them. Is just import their DVDs, and that's pricey.
Yeah, for sure. That's a fan. Yeah, it's like to import the DVDs and then watch them. Oh my God, I'm just thinking about that
I saw them
now.
on Daily Motion. My very first match was a Daily
Well, that's
Motion
nice.
match.
Yeah, you can get
Sayoriano.
Daily Motion and things like if you can get a little there. But you're right. If you want to watch full show,
Now you can watch
I'm
on their
still waiting on my
service.
Natsu DVD. You know what I
Oh,
mean? And it ain't her fault. Like COVID
no, it's
happened.
definitely not her fault.
But
Definitely
it's
not.
like I'm anticipating. And I know people in Canada have gotten it. And I know it's a U.S. thing right now, and I know that there's really nothing can be done about it. But man, I'm so excited. I've been waiting forever. I've been waiting since the match happened in what, November of last year,
Yeah,
October.
I thought it happened after at least Hazuki's retirement. Or did Kagetsu wrestle on this show? I know Hazuki didn't. I know Hazuki
Uh,
was like she was wearing the plaid and everything. Or was it the retirement? No, that was Kagetsu's retirement show. My
yeah,
bad.
no,
I got that
Hazuki,
mixed up. That's
Hatsuki.
the retirement show.
Yeah, no, this has Kagetsu. This has Hazuki. This had Session Moth. This had Jamie Hayter. This had um, Chima. It had Takumi Aroha.
Hmm.
It had who else was it? I mean, Natsuko and Natsu obviously were in it.
Yeah.
I don't think Miyagi was in it. Shuri was in it though. Um,
Sure was everywhere at that
yeah, she
point.
really
Like,
was.
even before Stardom,
It's
she
true.
was.
She
She
was.
came back from UFC and she was like, "Hey guys, I'm everywhere now." So she was even on Sheeta's last show, which was perfect timing for her to come back right as Sheeta was about to leave for the AEW. So they had a really good tag match. I'm
Yeah.
sad I can't find that match anymore. It was on YouTube, and I don't think it's on Daily Motion. It was a phenomenal tag match.
Yeah.
Those two have
Yeah.
so much chemistry.
Hazuki, I like the way they did this. Suzuki, I'm just looking at the card now. I don't think I've ever actually looked at this card, but they did like the old school booking where it's like tag match, tag match, tag match, singles match, tag match, and then 8-person tag. Where they brought in 4 new people, but they used all of Hazuki, Kagetsu, Natsuko, and Natsu who have already wrestled to kind of close out the show. And
Yeah,
it's like the hometown crowd kind of thing. I dig
yeah.
that. I'm excited to. I said I don't know who won. I don't want to know spoilers, but I see the card and I'm just like, yeah, like I want to watch this goddamn show. And I'm still waiting. And so is JD. Like JD too. Red Leaf Retrocast. He got to be
Yeah,
too.
I've heard a lot of people have been waiting, man. I feel for
Yeah.
y'all. Like I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, man, cause I'm still waiting on I had ordered stuff through iStrip. I'm still waiting on the March Kirkin show with the Sukasa
Oh,
versus
sure.
Susan match, and I'm
Right.
like, oh, I mean, I spoiled myself when I saw the match at least by itself,
Sure.
the main event after. Like I saw a
Yeah.
torrent of it because I couldn't wait anymore. I was like,
Right. You keep
I
watching.
need context for this, and
Well,
but I
that's because
want the
they got storylines
DVDs.
coming up, right? Like you kind of you have to kind of stay in the know.
Oh yeah, definitely. And also just those two matches alone were like, man, good matches. Good matches. Match of the year candidates as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I would like to go back. I gotta go back and watch more Sukasa. Like I know she's great, and I watch a lot of her stuff, but man, she's got a career, and
Oh, she's got quite the career.
I've missed probably 60% of it. You know what I mean? Like I got some
You
homework to
and me
do.
both. I have
Yeah,
homework to do, and I'm that's like supposed to be my next episode is Ice Ribbon. And I was like,
nice.
man, I got homework. I gotta split that thing in. I'm gonna split that thing into 2 pieces because I feel like I gotta do it kind of that way. Kind of want to cover the Emi Sakura era and then cover
Sure,
the
it's two
Tsukasa era.
completely, absolutely, it's two
Oh, they're
completely
two
different
completely
eras.
different eras.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have Emi Sakura with what's called Sakuraism, sort of like her philosophy towards wrestling, which I mean they still sort of practice now with
I
the
mean,
be
Gato
happy,
does it
love
a
for
little
wrestling
bit.
thing.
Yeah, Gato does a
But
lot
no,
of fun stuff.
Gato is like pure Sakuraism. That's
Yeah,
like
right.
because like Sakuraism is like enjoy pro wrestling. It's like
Oh, yeah.
wrestling should always above all things should be fun.
Yep.
And that's sort of was her philosophy. I mean, you have your serious title matches, but
Sure.
above all else, you
All
should
that's
always
built out
be
of
happy watching wrestling.
exactly right.
Well, all that's built out of sort of like seeing the scene around her just kind of die, essentially. Just,
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude,
that's sort of where that
Emmy's lived
philosophy
through
came from.
eras though. She's lived through eras. Emmy's a legend,
You,
man.
you would think she was an AJW, but she never wrestled AJ. Or I mean, she wrestled
No, she
what
was
you would
She was
consider.
IWA.
Yeah,
You
no, she
know.
was FMW. She was like she
Hmm.
wrestled in almost every promotion that wasn't AJW until AJW's dying days, where she popped up in
Yeah.
few of those matches when
She was
AJW
cleaning
was
up
like,
everywhere
hey
else.
guys, we're dying. Hey guys, we're dying.
Right. That's
Come
true.
watch Kara Yonayama.
It's like what Sari was doing around Stardom. It's like she's just tagging in and like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Maya
God.
too. And
Oh no,
2018.
Maya 2018 was so different. Like I feel like I compare her and Suzu now. I mean, I think Suzu's a generation talent. I'll quote myself
Yeah,
constantly on that. I think she's
Suzu's
like
gonna be great.
EO. She's like EO.
Yeah.
She's a talent you don't see once every generation. Like to pick up moves and just do them in matches. Like she leaves, gets rid of her gimmick, comes back, and like debuts 6 moves that she
Right.
had never done before,
Right.
and none of them look bad. I'm like, Jesus Christ,
It's
that's
good.
talent.
She is very good. She is.
Very
You're right.
very good.
EO's a good way of looking at it because she's what? She's 17, 18. Nah, she's not 18 yet,
She's
right?
17. She's 19
Yeah,
yet,
she's
but
17.
man,
Yeah, and
yeah,
she's
she's
just
17.
yeah, she's just. And you're right. She goes in. I mean, again, this is the only time I'm ever going to give myself a slap or a slap on the back for my predictions. But I knew that Suzu wasn't going to win, and I knew how much that pissed. Like, well, not maybe like pissed, but like you and JD were just like, "No, fuck it, it's Suzu's time." You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah, no, I was
100% on.
God.
And it's just like because she's 17, but like my God, you're right. Every time she's in that ring, she's doing 6 different things that she didn't do before, and all of them look pretty goddamn good. And it's like her offensive book in a year from now is going to be absurd, let alone
It's gonna look like Io's book. Like Io's
yeah.
book at like 2017, 28, like yeah,
Oh my
2017,
God,
2016. Io is like, where are these moves?
what are you
Just
doing?
does them. Like you've
Right.
even done that. And it's like, how are you doing these? Like,
Yeah.
and eventually Io would trim it down. But
God,
like,
that's
it's
a
like,
good
Jesus
point.
Christ, woman, how many moves do you have?
Yeah, she just knows everything. She knows how to
Well,
do
Suzu,
literally everything.
Suzu, I think Suzu was gonna win. I think had the lockdown not happened, I think
Sure.
Suzu was the way you book that. Like she pinned Tsukasa. You don't do that
It
unless the
hasn't happened in a long
person's
time.
winning. No, the
Right.
last time she was pinned in a singles match by an ice ribbon wrestler, you gotta specify,
Sure.
was Maya. And that was at the Ribbon Mania. And before that, it was Maya again, I think, at a singles match, which is why
Maya's got
Maya
her.
was that was part of Maya's journey to the top. Was Maya beat her in a singles match, then lost to her in a titles match. It was sort of the journey to get to her. But like that was the last like main thing. And so I'm like, yeah, of course you're gonna put the belt on her. But I get why. It's like you don't want to do that until you start getting more people in and get your ground
Sure.
back under you. So I
Yeah,
can
you
see
don't want to
them
crown her.
building that
You don't want
later.
to crown her with
I
100 people in there.
No, definitely not. That's something you want to do at Ribbon Mania.
Yeah.
That's something you want to do for the biggest show, biggest crowd. And I think that's what they're gonna probably end up doing now, which just sucks. We gotta wait a year, and I don't know if I want another year Maya reign. Like I love Maya, but Jesus Christ, woman, you've had that belt for almost 3 years now. We're gonna be at 3 years by the time Ribbon Mania hits again.
That's
Like,
the
come on,
crazy
please,
thing. She's
please,
had
please,
this
please
thing
stop.
forever. She really has
Oh,
had this thing forever.
she's run a
Um,
train on the entire roster. She's just going backwards now. She's going right back through them all. And I don't
um,
know if I'm okay with that.
yeah, it is like trip 3 through the roster. That is about to happen.
And I don't know if I want another Maya Sukasa match. I feel like that happens so much in a
Um,
short period of time. It's a
yeah,
good match.
I
It's a
wouldn't
good
mind
match,
it.
but I feel like it's
It's the best match I think Maya has though, right?
um I the
Yeah,
one match they had
you
at
get
Ribbon
Tequila
Mania was
Saya
better.
for a one off. Like, is she been retired long enough yet to where we can bring her back for a one off?
She retired. Just bring her back for a one-off win
Yeah.
title. Just no.
Yeah,
I
she doesn't
think
have to
I
win
think
it.
I
She could
think
just be 1 month of the calendar. You know what I mean? Like,
if in that case, just bring Manami Toyota back. Just run everyone through.
I'd be
Just
good
have
with
her
that
run through the
too.
legends. I don't
No,
know
of
if I'd be
course
okay
not.
with that.
No, no.
If you look at Toyota at the end of her career, she wasn't the same Toyota. She was like a half of the shell that she used to be. It was just like sad. Like man, Manami Toyota, you should. I mean, that's a whole other conversation with legends not hanging it up when they should.
Yeah,
I
Aja's
mean,
there.
I just man. I
But she
mean, there
does
was a point in
wrestle.
time.
She wrestles a decent enough style now to where it's like, okay, go out there, do your thing, girl. But
No. Her style is I don't move, you hit me.
right,
Eventually, I hit you.
yeah. The whole game is
and I
how
and
you getting too close.
I might take a bump or two depending on who you are. Like it, I think Aja is at the point where I think back was it when was that Sheeta match? It was like 2016, 2017. I think
Yeah,
around that time you could make the argument that Aja Kong still could have a good match when put against the right opponent in the right situation. and she could just turn it up, right?
Sure, fair.
But we never saw the Sari match, so I can't really say if she's still that way. But from what I've seen of her in the
I don't think
past
it's
year or
now.
so, she's not that level of Aja
Oh
anymore.
no!
She's
Of
barely
course,
she's barely
no.
walking. She barely
She's
walks around the ring
yeah, she's
now.
McFoley. Like she's she's
It's
not in there to put on
no.
clinics. She's not there to be revered. Really, I mean,
She's
she's
just
there to
there
be a
to
body,
be a wall.
to get a check. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And if they're willing to pay her,
she's
she's willing to do it, and that's cool. I forget it was like a 6-person hardcore match last year, but I think it was like 3-on-3. There was Legos. There was a
yeah.
huge ladder. I forget where. It was definitely an ice ribbon show. It was at like a fucking arena. It's a gigantic place. It was
Yeah,
the
I think I know what show you're talking about. It was the
yeah. It was on the card with
it was the big gymnasium, the big
yeah,
Osaka ribbon shows that they do.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I think I
that's
know what you're talking about.
yeah. It was the same card as sorry versus
Tsukasa,
Casa. Yeah, it was the same one. And then Maya versus Maya versus
Risa.
Risa. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And so they had this crazy little hardcore 6-person whatever. Yoshiko was in it, I think.
Yeah,
Um, and it was this crazy. But you look at Aja. She didn't do a damn. She just stood there in the middle, and then like one time, like they knocked her out of the ring, and she just like steps out of the ring when they hit her, and then she goes the out, and then there's like a spot where she like puts a big orange bucket on one of the wrestlers and just kind of pushes them over, and then pushes it. Like she's not there. She's there
no,
just to
she's
be a brute.
and, and that's
She's
where
not.
that's when I saw I remember seeing that match. Like, man, that's not Aja Kong anymore. That's
No, that's
somebody that's walking around pretending to be
yeah.
Aja Kong.
She's getting
And
a
then
yeah. She's getting a check.
her match with Ibuki Hoshi recently, that singles match, I looked at it, I was like, man, because seeing Aja do bumps and to see how slow it is for her to get back up, I'm like, man,
Yep.
Aja, you don't need to wrestle anymore.
You don't.
Just hang it up finally. But I think it's a lot of the same sort of problem that Damien killed Joshi to begin with. And that's just the legends not knowing when to quit. I still got it. I still got it. It's like, no, no, no. You've long since lost it.
I'm not saying that
And
Aja thinks she's got it, but I'm saying that she still draws. And if she draws and she can get a decent cut, why not take the check? You know?
I think I agree with you there. I don't think she
Yeah.
thinks she has it anymore. If she does, then she's on
Yeah.
something. Because I wouldn't look in the mirror
Oh,
or look at
no,
her
not
match and be
Aja.
like,
I think
yeah,
Aja's a
no.
realist. I think Aja knows. Maybe there's other legends out there in the past that went on too long thinking that they were too great, you know?
Oh,
I
there's
don't.
ones currently wrestling now.
Yeah, sure. No, I
There's
agree
ones
with
you could argue now.
I agree with you. Aja, I think, gets it. You know what I mean? I think she's sitting there just like, yep, no, like
So
I'm
long
just
as they're paying her, yeah, I get you.
Aja co-main
She's
event.
not she's not Mayumi Ozaki. She's not still trying to put
There you
herself
go.
over in her own
Yeah, she's not
promotion.
Ozaki.
No, Ozaki can't wrestle anymore. I'm sorry. Like, Ozaki has to throw weapons in her match to get anything out of anything. I've seen her wrestle. I'm like, listen, Ozaki, in the 90s, you were great. Now, please get out of the ring, please.
She did
Like,
kill.
let Sayori and Maya be the heels and just sit there and yell at people. They're
I
good at
love
that.
that you said her name because she does crack me up. And the thing is that she's not even like a little old. Like she's like in her
No.
50s. You know what I mean? Like she's
I
legit.
think she's pushing 60. She's up
No,
there.
Mayuri? No, she's
No,
in her 50s.
she sure as hell looks like she's pushing 60. She does
Well,
not
she's
look like
been
a spring
wrestling for
chicken.
3 decades. I mean, she's been wrestling since the 80s. So she
She still
certainly
puts
is.
herself over too.
Oh
No,
yeah.
I think
Oh,
I,
she's
I don't
100% with
understand.
herself.
She's like, oh yeah, I'm the best person on this roster on a roster with Maya Yuhiki. I'm like, no, you're not. Please
Yeah,
stop.
right. That's the thing. Maya is, and even Saya. I mean, because weren't they tag champs together in Oz?
Yeah, see that Sayori. Yeah,
They
look,
were playing
even
heels.
says
It's fun.
yeah, Sayori's great. I'm like, man, I wish I didn't have to watch Oz Academy to see you be a really good heel because I don't like Oz Academy.
It's
I
true.
don't like how they run their stuff with all the interference and police. God, I don't like him. Just everything about that promotion just makes me like, man, I
I don't
check
mind
out so hard.
Matsumoto. I don't mind Hiroyo Matsumoto. I don't mind him.
Hiroyo's good.
She is good.
I feel like Hiroyo is like sort of a sad case of not catching momentum. Because like I think an argument can be made that almost every year since like maybe 2017, at least as far as I know, there's been one wrestler that catches fire throughout that year. And I think
Yeah, good point.
Hiroyo was 2017. 2018 was not Yumi Oka. Ohada. Ohada from Ice Ribbon, or not Ice Ribbon, Wave, but and
Huh.
then like last year was Sari. I would say this year would be was it Asuka or Venny, all caps Asuka. If
Yeah,
things were
Asuka's having a hell of a
different,
year. Fuck yeah, she's having a hell of a year.
like I immediately I'm like I saw that the Risa Nakajima match, like, oh boy, like this was gonna be your year. This was
Yeah,
definitely gonna be your year to be like you're the one we're all looking at and
that's a
praising.
good,
But
that's a good way of looking at it.
I think Hiroyo just didn't capture her momentum. I think she had all
That's true.
this momentum and then she just kind of like petered out. And I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if she just didn't know how to do anything with it because like Ohana retired that year. Part of what killing Wave is, oh, she's on fire. Let's put the belt on her and give her a giant run. She's gonna retire this year though. But like, and then Sari just goes into the void. She just leaves for wherever the void is over in the U.S. that she should stay away from, but she's going.
Yeah.
So I feel like Hiroya is the only example you can look at of someone that had that fire and
Maybe
still
it's
around.
maybe it's the Jungle rub, Maybe it's because remember Jungle was a bit of a loser back in 2017 when they were both in
I could
Stardom
see
together,
it. I
and
could
it's
see
just
that. I
like
could see that
that Jungle rub is still keeping her like as the
with
bridesmaid,
that
never the bride type of thing.
with
Although
that
she
with
went
that
on to bigger and
cheap
better.
with that cheap old gear that she used to wear.
Yep.
God, Kyona's early gear is like the worst gear
It's
I've
my
ever
favorite thing
seen.
ever because she has
It's the
all this
worst
style.
thing.
She got me exercising over the quarantine. Like, that's the funny thing about Jungle. Jungle got me to do like one of her workouts on YouTube, right? And I don't do
Yeah.
workouts on YouTube. But I was like, fuck it. Why not? This is fun Stardom shit, trying to keep us entertained over the course. So why not? But then you know, and then you backtrack that all the way to her beginnings. And she came out literally like she just left a jungle for 15 years.
No, I put it this way. I was like, she looked like she picked up her costume from half Walmart and half Dollar Tree.
That's true
Like
too.
she just grabbed it and threw it together and walked out.
You're
And I
right.
was like,
Quality wise was terrible too.
I was like, oh, I mean that makes Leo's bin bag look better.
Yeah.
Leo's bin bag. I remember who I heard say that, but when they said bin bag, I was like, oh, I see it.
Yeah, that's amazing. But it's accurate. You know what I mean? It's very, very accurate.
I mean, I
Um,
get rookie gear is always supposed to be bad, but come on, Kyoto. It didn't
it's
supposed
so
to be
bad.
that bad.
It was tough.
Even my use wasn't that bad.
No, Maya's was pretty bad. Maya's was
Uh,
pretty bad. Saya's was
my
okay.
use.
Natsuko's was bad. Natsuko's has actually progressively gotten like worse, kind of. I guess the OT one's not horrible, but
The
the purple
jumpsuit
was
was
better than the
awful.
red. What?
The jumpsuit was bad. I know a lot of
The
people like the
jumpsuit was
jumpsuit.
terrible. Are you kidding me?
She
Because
looked
here's the
like
thing.
she looked like a jobber. She looked like she didn't belong in the
She
ring with the people
was.
she
She
was in there
was a top
with.
dude. She didn't win a match in
No,
five
she
star until
didn't.
the end when she beat Miyagi. It's like
And that
she
was
was
Miyagi, and
right.
Miyagi was leaving.
Yeah, he bounced after a year. So like that sucked. And then they just made her the de facto champion. And it's like Kagetsu didn't even really put her over. I mean, she put her over in like
No.
match, but didn't put her over storyline wise, saying like you've now become the number one or whatever, right? It was like you wore this orange jumpsuit and now you dyed your hair blonde and I'm supposed to take you serious. Fuck no. Like this isn't gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like this
Like
isn't
how that happened was just like how Kagetsu put her over was here. Here's my jute that I carry around in my entrances.
yeah.
It was giving you like Kyoko Kimura, and this is the only way everyone's going to know that you were the
We're
leader of
going to
Oedo Tai.
associate you with the leader of OT because you
And
have
she
this.
doesn't carry it, and she doesn't carry it with her. She just
No,
brings the chain with her. And I'm like, you're not the leader of Oedo Tai. I feel like that's the first sign that maybe they don't buy it, and maybe you don't buy it. That
this is why Saki
maybe someone else
Kashima
is
should
gonna.
be leading the division.
No,
No,
no.
it should be.
Sayoriano. They should sign Sayoriano and make her the leader.
Well, yeah, but
Just
I don't think they're going to get her.
oh, I think they could. I think if they throw enough money her way, I would be crazy if Sayori would turn it down. Wait, you think she's gonna wrestle in Oz Academy the rest of her life? Oh God, no.
I mean,
I know
it's
she likes
tough. You're
Mayumi.
right. I know
She
you're
likes
right. You're
Mayumi,
right.
but like
I don't
especially
know.
given the lockdown and the
Stardom,
lockdown,
well, I
how
guess
she went.
Stardom gets a pass because a lot of people have left. Well, not left, but like there's been a lot of retirements and shit, or a lot of just like it's gone. People have left, and
Yeah,
so I guess nobody would blame them if they went out and restocked by bringing Sorry back in. But My God, I don't know. I think the optics on that looks bad. I don't think people want to
It
look
looks
at.
bad no matter what. I think no matter
Yeah,
who you sign and bring in, I think even if you sign Shuri, it just looks back bouncing off of the Julia stuff alone, right?
sure. Although
I
Shuri is
think
deserving of a fucking contract. Like it's like a
no,
Bushi. It's
no,
like
Shuri deserves the contract no matter where she's at. She's
exactly.
way too good not to get one.
She is, yeah, it's silly. And I think because like she sees what Sheeta is doing over in AEW, that she sees like the positives of signing a contract. You know what I mean? Like she can
Yeah,
sit there and be like,
definitely.
oh, look how she like look what she's okay, great. Let me go pull the trigger on that and start him. You know what I mean? Like or whatever the case. Um
But I do think you have to at least sign one person. Like you don't have to get another person for DDM. I think at that point that should be a
yeah.
little bit of a lower priority. Maybe you try
You
to
need
find a
someone in
star.
stars. You need someone in stars. You need somebody in OT who's a leader. And if
I
B's leaving, you know,
I think you don't have to worry about stars. I think they have their third member right there in the Starlight Kid. I think they don't have
that's
to worry
three.
about
But
replacing
they need a
Arisa.
four. They need a four.
I think at this point you should. I think you sign one person because I don't think you want to get too hungry with it. I mean, they very well could, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Like
mind putting
I look.
Saya Aida, giving her a shot there because I like her personality.
No, don't get rid of Gory Chan. We need the Gory Chan, man. If you put her in a way to tie, she's not the Gory Chan anymore. She's just Natsuko's pet, and I don't think I'm okay with that idea.
No, that wouldn't be great. That wouldn't be
I mean,
great.
it's bad if you look at Oedo Tai, and I believe Natsu
OT's
Sumire
not
as
great.
the leader. I believe Natsu Sumire as the leader over
That would have been.
Natsuko.
And
That's not a that's not a
Natsu
good
would
thing.
have. I put like a thing together, like a little meme or whatever together once, and it was Hogan's Heroes, but it was led by Natsu. You know what I mean? Because that's what it would be, because and at least then I could buy that for 6 months. I
I
could buy
could.
Natsu just like she's like captain of shenanigans. It's like WCW's old like a little army troop they had come out that had all the ridiculous names.
Oh
Um,
God.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know
Uh,
exactly what you're talking about.
exactly. So I forget the name of them. Like they were the Misfits. I forget what the fuck their name was in WCW. But
It was some weird thing, but they all had like euphemism names,
MI
like
they
huge
did
erection and stuff like
MIA
that.
exactly. So I forget their MIA. I forget exactly. Anyway, but it's like that. Like she could run like a similar type of comedy troupe where she led them for 6 months of just chaos through ridiculousness. Um, and still pull out some like pretty impressive victories, kind of Toriano style and things like that. And I could live with that for a little while as you were trying to bring somebody in to be the number one that was going to take OT back to, where it was with Kyoko and Kagetsu. But they didn't.
No,
They went
they're like,
Natsuko.
Hey Natsuko, you like M Bison from Street Fighter? Get a
Goodness.
cap and dye your hair blonde and bring a chain that you don't use. You're the leader of Oedo Tai now. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You've inherited the mess that's left
It's,
over.
it's so funny.
Jesus.
It's just
It's
she's
like
not the
I
greatest.
don't know what fits more. I don't know what fits more. The fact that Oedo Tai lost its two biggest and more important members of recent like memory, right? In terms of like in ring and leadership style, right? And then Natsuko, a recent person brought into the group, a jobber essentially at this point, is now the leader of the what's left over of
Yeah, and
Oedo
Saki.
Tai. And Saki, who defects. And I don't know if it's a good career move anymore. It's like
Yeah.
maybe cash in your chips against Saki. Maybe go back to somewhere else.
Yeah,
Go join
she's
Queen's
almost better.
Quest.
No, she'll be fodder
No,
over in Queen's Quest. She'll take
no, she would
everything.
be. She'd be where Azumi is. She'd just be eating the pins.
Eat the pins all day. I can't have that. I mean, she was pretty much that in Stars. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
she
that's what I was
was the pin eater. She was always the
absolutely.
pin eater.
That's why I always had liked her in tag and I not triple or not trios, but normal tag and singles matches, albeit she didn't have a lot of singles matches. Yeah, I liked her in those positions always more because at least then she could flex a little bit. Every trios, every faction war, every notable whatever, she ate pins so hard in Stars, especially the more Arisa went through the ranks. And
Yeah.
SLK was like kind of doing her thing, kind of getting Azumi ready for the 5-star. So she was picking up some quick W's and some having some good looks and things like that. It's like Saki became like the straight up bottom of the totem pole for stars. So for her to get out
What's
and get
wor-
over to MD, that was a W. Got her a
What's
main event.
worse? What's worse is there's one match. I don't remember the match, but I do remember the moment where it was a trios tag match. I think it was like middle of the card, and it was Saki, Starlight, and I think Tam. And Starlight didn't eat the
That was
pin.
tough.
Saki ate the pin.
Lucky the fucking pin. That's what I'm saying.
I was like, oh, that's an indication of where you are at the card, not even just at the card, but how they view you. It's like,
You've
listen,
got
she's like
3, 4, and
16,
5.
and
Yeah.
she's 16 or 17, and we think she's a more important person to protect than you.
And you're back on your second run. You know, it's like
And your first one was okay.
it
You
was
were a good
okay.
heel, but you weren't standing out anywhere. But
You know what's funny?
You
You
were
go back.
you were on the way.
Go back and you watch some of those tag, and I always put it on the tag, because I think she's good. I think if you go back and even the second round, if you go back and you watch her tag league with Mayu both years, I think she held her own. I think she did a good job.
No, she's
You
a
know what I
good
mean?
tag member. She's
Yeah,
very good. She bounces off
yeah,
people very, very well.
very
I think
well.
she's I think she doesn't get enough credit for how well she's able to go in there with someone with a different style and play off that style. I mean,
Yeah.
to pivot this into Momo talk a little
Oh, there you
bit.
go.
The now I don't. It's not on Stardom World right now. I don't think, and I
Right.
really want it to be. But her and Momo's match was really good, and I don't think it gets a lot of credit. I think it gets kind of brushed over alongside the rest of the run, like some of that middle portion, right? But I think that she probably gave Saki, much like she gave Natsuko, probably their best match so
Yeah.
far that I've seen them. And I think there's something to be said at how she was able to not only play off of the story that was going on between her and Momo, with like Momo being too arrogant to know how to get out of a flash pin and getting her comeuppance on
Right.
that, right? Which plays into like way later with Arisa, right?
Right.
But she was also able to play off of the style that Momo has, the striker style, where she was able to use a lot of the oh, you'll kick me, I'll just flip you into a pin. Or you'll
Right.
kick me, I'll flip you into a submission. Like,
Yep.
she was able to do that in a way that was believable and really, really well done. And I feel like she gets underappreciated for a lot of what that match had to offer.
I agree
Gets
with
looked
you.
over.
I
Gets
agree
looked
with
over.
you.
Like the Natsuko match. The Natsuko match was great because Momo settled it for a brawl. Momo's a striker, but I think they sleep on the fact that she too can adjust how she approaches a match with who she's in the ring with. I
Sure.
think the night and day example is look at the Mayu match and look at the Natsuko match.
Right.
The Mayu match, there was no story. There was no story in that match with Mayu. That Mayu match was like, we are going to put on a bell to bell clinic. We are not going to stop. We are not going to go to 5. We're going to stay at 10. Maybe dip to 9, but we're staying at 10 the entire match. And it was phenomenal. And then you go look at the Nasco match, and it's like, it's kind of slow, a little more beating each other down, plotting. Momo takes a hell of a lot of damage, right? I think Nasco catches her early in the match, kind of catches her for a loop, right? And it's just great. I think um, Momo doesn't get a lot of credit for some of that. I think people will look at her. I think especially now, given she's so much in the back burner, she doesn't get the sort of like recognition that I thought like Arisa was gonna be gets and like Mayu gets. And I mean, I still think she's probably the second best wrestler on the roster. I think you put her just barely behind Mayu, because I think her and Mayu are the two wrestlers on the entire roster that are capable of taking just about anybody to a decent match at the very least. I mean, just look at the Andres match. Andres did not have any matches outside of that Momo match that were worth any note. Like every match that she had was sort of like always kind of like, it's okay. But Momo got something out of her that no one else got out of her. And I think had she been in the ring with like Mayu, I think the same thing would have happened. But and then even the Natsu match, that match with Chia with Natsu was based off of comedy, but like Momo played that match well enough to where you could believably think that Natsu had some chance at like a surprise. But at the same time, Momo was good at making herself look the underdog, right? You always feel like she's not always in the fight, but she's in the fight, sort of deal, right? Like she's like, man, Momo's kind of down and out at the moment. Is she gonna lose? And then she just kind of like rallies it back, and I feel like she does that really well. I don't think a lot of other wrestlers outside like Mayu currently on the roster do that. Utami gets a lot of praise, but I think Utami is sort of just a straight wrestler's wrestler, right? Like she'll have a power match with you. There'll be some story in there, but she's a power wrestler, right? She doesn't
That's
she won't
true.
elevate. She won't always elevate somebody in the ring with her.
Not
And I still
yet.
no, not yet. But Momo's there, and I don't think you just sit on that, right? Bushiroad would be just mad if they just kept skipping over her. They would look bad because I feel like if Momo has like, this breakout run, like just her matches start getting, if they don't intend for her to be a breakout star, and she just
Uh,
has these phenomenal matches, I think the fans look at Bushiroad like, hey, why is she not? Why do you keep skipping over her, guys? Like she had that wipeout run, she's really good. Like I think if you're, I think that's why they still call her Ace. I think that's still why on their website Momo is Ace because I think you if you pull that away from her and then she blows up, then you look dumb, right? If you
uh-huh.
keep that on her and she kind of doesn't, you can ignore it. I think that's sort of why they're sort of doing that. At least one of the reasons, right?
Yeah, I think that's
Because
good.
you can always do that.
Momo, see, where I've always been, and I agree with everything that you said about Momo there, and Saki, mind you. So thank you. But I think Saki, oh, not that well. I think when it comes to Momo, I think you can like do a new Tommy run sooner rather than later, Wonder or Red,
I think you do
and then
Wonder first. I think you do
yeah, that's
Wonder
fine, and use
first.
it as the stepping stone, and keep that going, and then use Momo for maybe the Red at some point after Utami and the Queen's Quest thing. Like I think you still have time on Momo. I think you've got maybe a year still that you can play with it before you have to do something like put the title on her or do something more. She needs more than the bratty kind of coming to terms with the fact that she was the greatest, but now she's got to work harder to stay the greatest type of mindset that they got going with her right now. um
Yeah.
I think they've anguished her enough. Now it's time for her to really just start being the badass, kick-assery type of person that we know, and just build that story for the next couple months as we lead into some type, whatever the program looks like for the red belt. But I think the red belt really needs to be the next thing for her, and I think she needs to win it when she goes for it. Like she can lose.
Look, I'll flip that. I'll flip that for
You want
you.
the white?
I think I no the order in which you do the Momo Utami thing.
Uh,
I think you build because I don't think you give Momo or Utami a long run, right? This sort of goes into like they need
yeah,
to
it's
build
their
stars
first. It's
quicker.
not their short, right? It's their first
That
run.
too,
It's not
right?
their yeah.
I think you want to build stars quicker too, right? So you don't want to have these long runs. So I think Mayu's run was going to be long, and I think maybe you cut that, right? You can give Mayu another run later, but I think you sort of
Yeah, she's
cut that at
fine.
the moment,
She just
just
had 12 weeks
briefly.
off.
Yeah, you just briefly sort of cut that a little bit, right? And I think I don't. It's how you're going to do the Momo switch is important, but I think you give it to Momo and then you give it to Tommy later. After Tommy has a short white belt run, because I definitely think that they want her to hold every belt in Stardom, minus like the high speed, right?
Utami
Just look at it.
or
Yeah, because
Momo?
look at she's no my Utami. So
Utami's
Utami's
already
held
held all
every
the
belt
belts, except they're all the
except
bullshit belts.
she's held every belt except the red, the
Or the
white,
white.
and the high speed. She's been
She didn't win the high
SWA
speed.
champion. She's been artist champion,
Yeah,
goddess
she was
champion.
Utami all
She's
belts.
held, yeah. And so I think they want her to hold every belt. So I think you get the white belt first. Because you don't go backwards. You don't go red belt, then white belt. That's never really how they go with things, right? I think you
Well,
maybe.
Mayu did that, right? She went white, red, white,
No,
red.
she went white. She went white, red, injured.
That's true.
She went white, red, dropped white, got injured, and then back to red. she,
Mm. Yeah, I guess
so
you're
I
right. That
think
is how it played.
I can't think of an example where they went backwards with it outside of Io. I think Io is the
Io went
exception, but
red to white for sure.
I think that was Tony Storm, more
Kyrie had the
Tony
white
having. Yeah, I think
and
it
then
was
the
more
red.
Tony having the belt and being outswear that had something to do with that. I think had
Mhm.
Tony dropped the belt sooner, I think Momo's white belt reign would have been the red belt reign instead. I think they would have pulled the B where they just jump the white belt because I think a lot of why the
I love
white
how
belt got
one and
built
two
up.
these titles are. God, they're so close.
But they used to not be so close. They used to
I
be like
know, but they
the
are now.
definitive. Yeah, well, I think a lot of that was just the Tony Storm run. I think Tony Storm run. I don't. It doesn't matter whose fault that run is. Just that run alone sort of switched the dynamic of how the belts are now.
Sure.
So now, like, there's people that I think I've talked to that still believe the white belt is the number one belt. Like, I mean, I
Well,
get why.
depending on when
Who
you're
would do
coming,
that?
when you came in, I could see that, because that's all you know. And then
Yeah.
I mean, but like they're so 1 and 1A right now. I still put the World over the Wonder for sure.
Yeah.
But man, I look forward to the Wonder matches, main events, just as much, if not more, sometimes than the Red.
I think I do sometimes more. I mean, even during the research run when I wasn't clicking it, the white belt always felt like I had more going on with it.
They kind of did, which is, hey, that's kind of what I want out of my secondary title. It's a worker's
Yeah,
title, like that's
it's a very good belt. I feel like
it's a
the
great belt,
red
man.
belt. I feel like the Tony thing helped more than it hurt, long
Yeah, but
term
I think
wise.
B really helped it. I think B took it. I think Kagetsu did a great job with it.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Kagetsu rehabbed that belt.
she
Kagetsu
certainly did.
rehabbed that belt
But then
well enough.
B made it consistent. And as a Gaijin,
She
that's
did.
not easy. But she
No,
kind of like kept that in place as the white belt played out the way it did, and I give her a lot of credit for that too,
no.
because she could have Tony
B had
Stormed
a
it.
good run.
Yeah, she could have Tony Stormed it.
She
And
could
she
have
did.
also she could have also just had stinkers. She very well could
Oh,
have
she
just had
did. It
stinker
wasn't a perfect
matches.
run by any
No, it
stretch.
wasn't.
Yeah,
It
no,
wasn't. But
no,
it wasn't like how some people would probably like to frame it, right?
no. It was
People who don't
good.
really like B.
It
I
was
like
good.
B. I've
I
liked
like.
B for a
I
long time.
She really grew. I didn't like her when she won the title. Like I didn't mind. It didn't bother me that she won it because I knew people really liked her, but I wasn't. I wasn't huge on her. I saw the talent, but like I wasn't a gigantic fan. And then through her run, she really grew on me. You know what I mean? Like I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit! Like when she lost it, I was bummed. I was like, oh man, that was a good run. You know what I mean? She had like 8 defenses. Um, she had
I
great.
thought she had fewer than that. It was a very short run. If memory serves, right?
No, but she wrestled a lot in there. I mean, I'm not gonna know offhand. Maybe it's 6. Um,
So it
but
was
she
Momo. There was
she had
Momo. There was Utami. There was one other I'm forgetting. And then there
no
was
more than
Hana.
that.
And then she dropped it to Mayu.
It was you're missing somebody in there. Who are you
So I feel
missing?
like it was a lot. I remember it being a lot shorter than I was expecting it to be. Because I don't think I ever expected Mayu to win the belt when she won it.
Oh, I expected B to lose it in the year. I didn't think she was gonna make it to climax. So I thought it was a pretty good run in that sense. As far as her run goes, though, it was um, yeah, she defended it a decent amount of times.
So I'm only
Uh,
remembering those matches. So I
it
wonder
was
if
Suzuki, Konami, Momo, Utami, Hana. So she defended it 6, 1-5.
okay.
Yeah,
I forgot about the Hazuki defense.
yeah, it was the first one.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, that was golden.
How
That
the
was Gold Week.
that was it, wasn't it? Damn,
Yeah,
I forgot about
that was
that
in
because
May.
she went on the Queen's Quest Golden Week produced
I
show.
think so. Yeah, I think that's how it worked. Right. Or
Yeah.
she won it. Yeah, she won it right. She won it at Golden Week, which was the big deal.
Yeah.
Right. That was like a whole thing, and then the way she won it too, and people didn't like. And then
Yeah, because she aped the JOC.
just took it, man. Just took it.
Ah,
Crazy.
I still don't like the name. Like I don't mind that she took it, but I
Dude,
really don't like the name Queen's Landing. It just seems so. Eh.
it's funny. I wouldn't mind it if it wasn't a queen, if it wasn't a Game of Thrones reference in my mind.
Yeah, that's what I was at too. I was like,
Yeah.
did you have to?
Like
Did you
if Game
have
of
to
Thrones
do
wasn't
that?
there, I think I wouldn't mind it. Like it's
Yeah,
just what
it's
it.
like, man, you couldn't just come up with a different name.
Yeah, I kind of hate
No.
pop culture in my wrestling. It's funny. Um, every once in a while, that's the case.
Yeah, every so once in a while, it's okay.
Yeah,
As long as it's not like a finishing move.
uh-huh. It's
Like,
true. It's just a drop back. That's the thing about it.
no, it's
Yeah.
not really a special move. And Minami
Uh-uh.
Toyota didn't invent it; she just popularized it.
She made it. Yeah, she made it. Yeah, that was her move. You know what I mean? Like
Huh.
it
It
gravitated
was
towards her.
associated with her, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So B, I don't know. I like the run. So anyway, but I think she did her job with it. She held it for a decent amount
Yeah,
of time.
no,
She
definitely.
did, 6, 8 months or what it was, 180 days with it. And That's all we needed. We needed the world of Stardom, and then now Mayu's got it. Now she's going to take it to the moon. So who
Well,
takes it
we,
off?
we hope she takes it to the moon.
Oh, she will.
I
She's Mayu.
Well, no, I don't doubt that her match wise. I'm just wondering how long they're keeping the like. I think so much is up in the air
Well,
now that
right
I
now,
don't.
that's the one thing we haven't talked about yet. Funny enough, is what do we? So we knew kind of what it was before. Now moving forward, what do you expect? Like,
I expect a lot of short reigns to build a few people up to fill those slots that
I like
are
it.
desperately needing to be filled. And I think the people you put in those slots are people that are kind of on the fringe of that
Yeah.
top end, right? So that's why I think you do the Momo reign first, right?
So I want to get
So you
Jungle out
establish you,
her run sooner rather than later.
so so it's funny that you bring up the jungle because then that she had that speech about wanting to win the red belt in memory of Hana and everything. I don't think you
Jungle winning the red belt is what I want. Whether it's now, later, that is something that I do want in my wrestling eventually.
no, I want
For
it too.
Yeah, it's cathartic as hell. Like I can't.
But you don't do it now. I don't think you.
I
I
know
think if
you don't, but
you if you hand it to her now, it just comes off as, hey, your friend died. Here, have the red
it's
belt.
true.
I feel like you
It's
make a
true, but I think
year
it's
story
more
out of
than
it.
that. I think everybody knows why it's happening, and I think that's really the more of the. I think that's how you. But you're right. You can be looked at two ways for sure.
You make a story out of it. I think what you do is so Hana passed close to a little bit after Cinderella, right? Not a little bit after, but like after Cinderella, right? So I think what you do, right, is first TCS, you retire at the memorial show, but you keep all the members factionless. They don't want to join anyone, right? And you do that for a little while, right? But
Okay.
they refuse to follow
They're
anyone
not
that
free
isn't Hana.
agents. They're nothing. They're just there.
They are a group of people that work together with each other, but they're not any faction. And maybe they don't always work with each
It's
other,
Jungle Assault
but they
Nation.
refuse.
This is what it is.
Oh God, don't do that to
It
don't
is though. That's what it
Jesus.
is. You don't have to call it that.
Don't
That's what it is. It's the band of
get
people.
the face paint, the colors, and
Mhm.
hey, Natsuko, want to come back to John? The best parts of your career so far.
Yeah, for real.
But I think what you do with Kiona specifically is you make her more hungry. You have her get more wins. You have her go on this like hot streak, right? And you do this for a year, right? I think what you do is you have her maybe not mention it in every promo, right? Because you don't want to beat people over the head with it, right? But you maybe every couple promos, every one or two, maybe three promos, right? She reminds you why she's doing this, right? Why she is clawing and scraping and just on this roll, right? Because it's
Right.
not just her dream anymore; it's hers and it's Hana's, right? Her best friend, right? And then I think you have her
The
go
quest.
onto the Cinderella, right? You go to the Cinderella and you have her tear through the Cinderella, right? Just every match she destroys her opponent, right?
Why
Because
the
really,
Cinderella? Why not the 5-star? Why not push it over a month instead of one event?
because I think you build it to the year anniversary of it happening. I think,
Oh man.
I think,
Okay. All
I
right.
think you, I think. No, hear me out. I think you build it right. Because I think what you do with the 5-star is if you have the 5-star this year, mind you, right? Because we don't know if they're still gonna have that or not,
It's
right?
true. Yeah, it's in
But
the
I think
air.
if you have the 5-star, you have her only lose by points. You have her win her matches, but maybe just one of those matches she just couldn't finish in the time frame, and you have her just barely lose by points, right?
I'm good with that. I
It
mean, it
makes
fits
her
the narrative
hungry.
of Jungle.
Yeah,
Jungle's
so
always like she ties to get to the final, but she loses on criteria. That's a Jungle way of losing.
and that keeps the story going, right? She's
Yep.
not. She's that makes her
Yeah,
even
she
more
won.
hungry,
She's
right?
there, right?
She that makes her even more hungry. It's like I was almost
And
there.
it right.
I
You give
need
it,
to do this,
and the
right?
person that beat her to go to the final, like she had beat, but they like drawed, and then they ultimately win the whole thing. You know what I mean? So it kind of sets up that like there's a couple different stories you could tell there. I like it.
And I think you go to the Cinderella because Cinderella is the closest to the anniversary, right? And I think
Yeah, it's
ultimately
true.
the tournament itself doesn't matter in this context,
No,
right?
of course
And
not.
you don't put the dress on her. Have her refuse the dress and just be stone cold and call out the red belt champion, not the white belt, right? I think what you do is you have her just tear through that Cinderella tournament, right?
It
Doesn't
just
matter who
throws
she's
everybody over the
facing.
top rope. What's the matter? It's
No,
Cinderella.
she comes in and she just beats people. Don't have her you do the top rope, right? But I think you just have her annihilate everybody. Then she wins. She doesn't wear the dress. She calls out whoever the red belt champion is.
Yeah.
Brings up Hana.
Momo. It's
Brings up
Momo.
you do Momo because they have history,
Yeah, they
right?
have
And you can play
because she
off of
can't
that
beat fucking
too.
Momo. Yeah, she can't beat Momo.
Exactly. She
Yeah.
has never pinned Momo. So I think you do that as like the final hurdle of it, right?
All right,
Like this is
it's
the
the
person
final
I've
boss.
never
All
beaten.
right.
I have never beaten her, right?
Final
Like
form.
I've never beaten her. Like she's drawn with Utami. Like she's not. I don't think she's beaten Utami, but she's had a draw with Utami in a singles match, right? But she's never had that with Momo.
Yeah, I guess they did draw at 5-star, didn't they?
And I think they drew in her in a debut match as well. So I think
yeah, that did happen.
She never pinned Momo. Final boss here, right? And
Right.
Momo's short reign's already gonna be short, right?
For
So
the
don't worry
world
about
title
this.
too.
Yeah, because her dream is
True,
the
it's
red belt.
transition.
Hana's
No
the
one's gonna
red belt.
remember, right?
All right. So what you do is you have her and you have her win, and then when you have her win, it's this huge moment, right? Because it's closest to the 1 year. It's been building, right? You didn't just give it to her. You have been building this emotional story throughout the entirety of this run. You have her win, and then you have all the members of former TCS come out, and then you have her give this impassioned speech, and then you continue the run after that. And then after that, you can just do whatever with some of the members of TCS, right?
Sure.
Maybe at this point they feel the closure, right? They finally got closure.
Well,
And they feel
Konami's
like they can join
going to the
affection.
WWE. Make no mistake about it. Like that is going to happen in the next couple of years.
I don't know how much
He's
I'm
got a
on.
couple years left.
I don't know how much I'm on that. Also, the WWE would do jack all with her, and she has no personality to be in the WWE.
Well, that's the only
Like,
thing. If she can get personality, because she's not out of the woods yet, but you're right. I call people 5-tool players. She's a 4-tool player because she doesn't have the charisma side. But if somehow she was able to gain that, like she's an Asuka prototype. She's going right. Like WWE is just going to pick her up just because of it. You know what I mean? Like they're just going.
I mean, I can see the argument. I can see.
Yeah.
I just
Two years.
don't know.
2 years.
I don't know.
Konami's
I don't
going
know
to
yet.
NXT. Like it's going to. I'm reserved to it. You know what I mean? Like it's just she's too good. She's too technically good to not go.
If my ritual of WWE that I do every couple nights of WWE finally folding, if that happens, it won't happen. Don't worry. They won't continue because damn it, I don't want them ruining Japan for me. I look at the
I don't
UK
know if
scene and I feel
Konami
so
go in
sad.
there. Yeah, I know. But I don't know if a Konami go into. Well, that's the thing. Stay out of Japan. I'm just talking Konami going to NXT and stateside. But yeah, if WWE comes to Japan, that's a problem.
Well, they're having a hard time with it. Thank freaking
They
God.
are. They are.
Thank God that's a hard sell for them to be able to get in there.
Well, they're out right now. So they'll be back in a year, but they're out for the
Well,
the
they'll
foreseeable.
try in a year.
Of course. Oh yeah, I don't know if they'll be successful for sure. So that's what I'm saying. Like by that point, Konami's going to be over stateside. I think Asuka's going to say like, "Yo, just get over here." You know what I mean? Even if it's for a couple years.
Asuka retires soon.
I think Kyrie will do it too. I think Kyrie comes back and says like, "Yeah, if you got it, go do it for a run." You know what I mean? Go do a tour of the states. You know what I mean? Go do your WWE run.
I think with Kyrie, I think if she does come back to Stardom, I don't think you have her wrestle. I don't know how much of her career she has left, especially with the Naya taking like years off of her career. I don't think you have. I think you can have her put somebody over without having to wrestle. You can do the Yoko Bito thing, where it's like, hey, you, I like you. You take my finisher.
I like that. I think here's where I'm at with it. With her is like if she re-signs with WWE, it's because she still feels she's capable of going in the ring, which I think she can. It's just she gets injured, and she's had injuries. So if she comes back but we don't talk about enough is maybe she knows that the best of Kyrie is not there anymore,
No,
and so
I would argue that's a fact at this point.
of course, but
she's not the same
she's
Kyrie.
the athlete. Yeah, but she's the athlete. You know what I mean? She's the one with the mindset.
Yeah.
So maybe she thinks otherwise. And so she goes, okay, well then what I'll do is I'll do 6 months. I'll do a year. Instead of signing a 3-year contract, I'll do a year with Stardom and I'll work with the new girls and like pressure's off and I'm doing my thing and I'm kind of working my way out of wrestling, but I still got that itch and I still want to prove some shit.
Yeah.
Still got that hunger. That's where I think that you can get at least a year out of her if not more. I mean, she could go another 3 years because who really knows what the fuck's going on. But let's say it's just like she's on her transition on her way out. Shit, you bring her in, you let her do, even if it's just 6 months, the first 6 months of Stardom next year, or she comes in as a face and just kind of like cheers people on, almost like taking over the Fuka role, like the GM role.
I can see that.
But then instead, like flipping the script and saying, okay, I'm going to wrestle the back 6 months and I'm going to end my career at year-end climax 2021. Yeah, man, sign me up for that too. Like I'm all about that life.
I
Kyrie
mean,
is a star. She'll go anywhere and make money.
she was star in Stardom. Like just, I mean, just go
Goodness,
look at Freedom. If you look at Freedom,
that was
the
great.
people that stood out were Io and Kyrie. Mayu sort of was, she stood out, but she was definitely like overshadowed. She was dwarfed by Io, but like Kyrie also as well, right? I think that's what some of the things that people forget, because like I think a lot of newer fans see Mayu as this like walking god of wrestling at this point, right? Because she's really, really good. I think she's at the peak of her career right now, right? But Jesus, Mayu was always like a struggle. I mean, I think Rossi had said it at one point that he didn't see that she was a star. He didn't think she was a star at all, so she didn't have it in her. I
Right?
remember a specific quote from him for that, and I was like, and I remember just like saying, yeah, people aren't gonna want to admit that, but at that point, she wasn't a star, nowhere near. It was like a completely different Mayu. She was way more reclusive. I mean, she was like, she put it on in front of the camera when she was wrestling, but if you put her TV mic in front of her, she'd crumble. She was not the Mayu of now, nowhere
No,
close.
not a bit.
And so I mean, I think I think she's at the peak of her career, but however, I don't know how much longer Mayu has. And I say this because I look at her body and I see all the tape, and I see all the tape in certain places, and I see it more in certain other places. And like, just look at her shoulder; she has like
Yeah,
caked on her shoulder.
she's beat up. That's what like that's like the 12 weeks off here have been good to Mayu.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely,
she
Mayu's
needed.
benefited by the
If you could tell
most.
me you get 3 months off, and you do like a physical thing like that, like, phew, like you're still working hard. You probably had a little ring rust, but you're still feeling good. You're still doing all this type of stuff, but you got to shake the shit off. But like for Mayu, oh man, a quarter of the
Oh,
year off.
it's gotta be great. It's gotta
It's
be amazing.
right. Yeah, it's straight
So
there.
long as she doesn't re-injure herself, I
Well,
think
I
she should
mean,
be. I think they could add. I think you could add a little bit more time onto what I call the Mayu clock, because
I
I
under.
think Mayu has a definite clock, a countdown for
Yeah.
how long she'd be able to keep up how she is. I think
Hmm.
her problem is, I mean, so the biggest takeaway was during that New York show they came over and the
Right.
ROH run. She wrestled that entire time with a really messed up knee. She
Yeah.
worked hurt because she took time off almost immediately after they came back,
Hmm. She
and
did.
it
She
was
was
just
out for a
like,
good amount of time.
yeah, it's like she shouldn't have been wrestling. I don't think she couldn't do her spin thing anymore with the streamers.
Right.
Remember, she was hobbling on one leg and doing it
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah. She couldn't
It
go
was
left or
just,
right or something on it. Right.
yeah, it was like crazy. And then I was just like, I looked at it, I was like, man, she doesn't know how to not go at 11 too. I think she's started to dial it back a little bit, but I don't think she's dialed it back enough to where I feel like she's added to that clock.
Yeah.
Right?
She has no. There is no such thing as uh less than 100% in ring. Like she
No,
she is a professional in that sense.
I think she would have benefited a lot from like, well, I guess a lot of people could have benefited from the EO way of handling things, but EO is EO, right? EO could
Right.
half-ass a match and it still would look great.
Of
But
course.
I think I think the problem with Maya is she enjoys wrestling a lot, and I don't think she ever wants to give it even just a fraction less of her best, and which is admirable. But when you wrestle the style and the way she does, it piles and it piles, and her neck. We always joke about her neck being made of rubber, but it just takes one time for that neck to not be rubber anymore, and that's what I'm always concerned with her. I'm like, I look at her, I was like, man, I wish you would stop killing yourself so much. Like, I feel like you could put on a great match and not just throw yourself into things like that. It worries me because I think Mayu is one of the most likable wrestlers, most likable
There
people.
is not right. There's
She
not
has such a
one thing.
weird relatability to her that I don't think
Yeah,
any other wrestler I've ever seen have. Right?
it's
She's a
true.
mega star, but she
It's
doesn't
true.
feel like a star. She feels like just you and me, an average weird person that just gets lost on a subway.
Right.
You
She
know?
is, yeah. She is like as I don't even know. Relatable is the best word. Like she's just someone who's like she giggles at things that aren't jokes, but she took as jokes because she didn't hear them. You know what I mean? Like she's just that type of person. So yeah, I mean, what's there not to love about her? Like she's hilarious. Like everything about her character. It's like a Bushi. You know what I mean? Like how can you not like just want to take him home and just give him a big hug? You know what I mean? Like, hey, buddy.
Just and make
Like
sure you put the safety things on the counters, like the kid
it's
things on the
right,
counters, so she doesn't
exactly.
hurt
It's like a
herself.
toddler, right? It's like a toddler in the street. Like, get out of the street. What are you doing, kid? You know what I mean?
I mean, there's
Like,
so
just move
many
out of the way.
stories of Mayu. There's so many stories of Mayu just being this dork that gets lost on a
Yeah.
train because she drank non-alcoholic beer and
Hmm.
just was somehow got drunk from it and is crying on the phone to Saki because she's
Hmm.
lost. There's so many of
Everybody
those
loves
kinds of
Saki, by the way.
stories.
There's a bunch of stories about people that everybody loves Saki Kashima. She's a locker room hero. You
Oh,
know,
she gets underrated for that. Like a lot of the gaijins would probably tell you how much. 'Cause I've
they
heard a
love.
lot of them go on and
Dude,
on about her.
yeah, Alex Gracia, B, fucking like they all love
Tony,
her. B.
Tony,
Tony
Tony put her
Storm,
up really hard.
yeah, everybody loves Saki, man. Like Saki is she's a cool chick.
I think it's telling that on the Mayu live stream that she did, that no, that it seemed like everybody she called was unaware that she was even doing the live stream. Because I mean, just look at the run the list. Poor SLK, like she almost unmasked SLK in front of everybody.
Yep,
She
that's
calls her
true.
on video phone, and then Starlight doesn't have her mask on, obviously, right? It's like, oh crap! Don't show that to the mirror that's behind her. Don't just oh god, Mayu, why?
Maya.
Poor Tam.
Yep.
Tam was like in the skimpiest loungewear because she's like going to bed. Doesn't have her makeup done. Hey guys, this is how Tam looks, which she's not Tam. Arisa in the bath. That was what got me. I was like, oh, please don't turn that phone around. We don't need to get this video taken down.
Right.
But I think the telling one was Saki. Like Saki picked up immediately.
Yep.
I didn't think it rang once, and Saki picked it up immediately. And I think that says something for how Saki's like IRL relationship is with both Mayu and with a lot of the roster members.
It's
Like
true though.
you don't if you're Mayu, you don't cry on the side of the road and call Saki as your first person if she
Hmm.
don't think that she knows that she'll come get you. Like Saki will give you crap. She'll huff and she'll puff. God damn it, Mayu, don't move. Please just
Yeah.
stay where you
Well,
are.
there's discipline in.
But I mean, just there's so many stories of like I said, Saki, and just even like the Mayu one to go back to Mayu a little
Mhm.
bit. The Mayu stuff. Like, there's so many stories of her just being a dork, being like one of the most oddball people, passed out on the floor in the bathroom of a hotel because she's tired, and Sumiya Sakai is freaking out because she can't get a hold of her. Just so many of those kinds of stories that she's like, yeah, she's a megastar, but really she doesn't seem like she's a megastar. She's like just an average Joe Blow.
Yeah.
She's just an average person,
Hmm.
and it just somehow doesn't feel like she should be where she feels like she stumbled into where she was at,
Oh yeah.
and that's like the perfect
And
summation of Maya.
stayed.
She stumbled. She
Yeah.
stumbled into the number one spot and just
Hmm.
stayed there.
Just stayed. Like I'm just gonna not. If I not move, nobody will see me.
If I don't move, I don't fall, and nobody has to yell
Exactly.
at me for it.
Yeah. It's really hard to take the title off of her, which is why I think Momo is the best bet for that.
I think
I think
Momo's
that
the most believable bet right now. She's the only one at that
I don't.
level.
I disagree. I think Utami's above her right now. I agree
Oh,
with
I
you
think
with your. I agree with your breakdown of Utami compared to Momo, but I think like character wise, they just haven't done enough with Momo to put her in a program where I really should believe that she should beat Mayu. You know what I mean? Like she's there, certainly she's there, but it's like, which makes me then
I
want to say
agree.
like, then you got to
I agree.
like wait, until you can pull that. Which then who do you then put in it? Which is where I went with Jungle. To switch up on what you were doing, Utami on the white after Julia. I like that because I think that's the only viable way that you get because then you can have Utami Shiori
Yeah.
for the white for a while. Like they can just run that program forever for all I care. You know what I mean?
So
Like,
so so hear me out on this. Then as you mentioned the Momo and the I just thought about something. So you could have Momo win the 5 star and get it that way. However, that also plays in the Kiona story. So you know how we're gonna end this end the Kiona thing, the cathartic Hana tribute run thing. We're gonna end that with her beating Big Boss Final Momo that she's never beaten before.
Sure.
I think you have Momo be the one that edges her out in points. So
Mm,
Momo doesn't pin her in the 5-star. I think Kyona doesn't get pinned in the 5-star, but she has at least two matches where they go to time limit draw.
man, you put it to Momo.
She couldn't finish it in time, and Momo is in that same block, and Momo is one of the people she goes to a time limit draw with, and then Momo's the one that wins, and then Momo wins the red belt, and then you just kind of build. So you're building two stories almost right there. You're building, the Jungle Kiona run in memory of Hana and her trying to live both their dreams, and then you also build the man Kiona still can't beat Momo, and it's been how long now, sort of deal. And you
Mm-hmm.
can build those, make them meet at the end of the Cinderella tournament and everything, and you just have that. I feel like that is a much more cathartic sort of
Sure.
best way to handle the Jungle Red Belt run for the run.
Momo
I mean,
being used as like the blockade from Jungle's redemption or Jungle's story is kind of perfect,
it
right?
fits.
It
It checks
really
every
does.
box.
It really
It checks
does.
every box.
I don't know if I'm willing to wait a year, but I
I
do
think it
like that
works if you
dynamic. I
do.
think you can still, yeah. I don't know if I
I think
wait.
if
I don't
you
know if I give
build
it
it,
a year, but
how I like sort of had that, I think
yeah.
you could do
No,
it.
I think the story's perfect. I think you just do it in instead of doing it in 10 months, I think maybe you do it in 8 months. You know what I mean?
I mean, you could, but I feel like I want to do it closer to like the memorial of it all. I feel like it would have much more impact that way. It would feel much more special than if you
True.
did it like sort of a little bit after. Because if you're gonna wait that long, then why not go that
The
long?
distance. I get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think you
I
could
don't
do that.
know. Yeah, I don't really have a good argument otherwise. And I do like it overall. I just there's something about that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm on the fence about the timeline, but I do like. But yeah, I think Momo's perfect for that role, right? Momo because the story's built in. Jungle needs an antagonist through this whole thing. Um,
Exactly, and
Momo is
Momo is the
Momo is
perfect one for that.
perfect character work for that. Like, let alone what she can do.
Exactly.
She's just
You can.
a bitch, like she's gonna if she thinks she's better than you, then she's gonna remind you every single time. And like,
Yeah.
man, that's gotta get so frustrating for someone like Jungle, especially with how fueled she is right now. And it's just like that's a hell of a story to tell.
And I
If
think
they're
you
going
and
to use the story, that's how you tell a story. Then
I think you flip how Momo treats her. I don't think you have Momo be an absolute bitch to her, and I think that's what makes
no, I
Kyoto
think
more
that works
mad.
more
I,
right.
I think that's what makes Kyoto more frustrated. It's like, why are you treating me like a different person now? Why aren't you treating me like you always treat me? I don't want your sympathy, sort of deal.
Okay, so it's like, hey, beach go for the like Momo shakes hands for once with Jungle.
Yeah, I think you do all of that. I think by the
Uh,
time you do this, you'll have people in the stands crying.
twist
I
of
think you
twist.
can make
Yeah.
this work.
Look
I
at
think
this.
you can make I think you make the stone hearts of the Japanese fans who are always quiet. I think you can make some people cry. I
Hell,
think you can make it win. Make
that's
it work.
awesome. That's a great story. I'm all for that. I think the more,
Cause like,
yeah,
cause if you ever be a bitch, then it's easy to boo her, right?
right.
But if you and it's and
But now you're
it's no
getting
different, right?
empathy for the bully. You
You're
know
getting empathy from the person that you don't want it from.
exactly. It's good. I like it.
And it works.
It
It
does work.
also makes Momo not look like an asshole, right? Because if you do that, then
Yeah,
Momo looks
it's
like
true.
Momo can't
She,
never you
she
can't
needs to
recover
be
Momo from that.
right. Then she needs to
Like,
be Risa Nakajima forever.
yeah, you don't want that. You don't want her to be one of the most hated people on the roster
Yeah,
just because of a story you built up, right? I
right.
think what you do is you have it.
Unless you
You have
switch
to
her to
make a
Oedo
genuine.
Tai. Unless Utami takes over Queen's Quest and then you move her to Oedo Tai.
Oh, I don't think you do that. I think
No, I
Queen's
agree
Quest
with
is
you.
always going to
I
be
agree you don't do that.
Momo's.
But that's no way you can make it work. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's the only way to make it work. Yeah, have her
Yeah.
take over what's left of Oedo Tai, the shambles of
Right.
Oedo
Hey,
Tai.
build it back up over the next 2 years. That she
So
like.
if you can build it back up, like you can't build it under Natsuko though. Natsuko's a terrible foundation to build that on. It's too shaky.
That one's tough. You lose her in the draft. She goes to Stars as a comedy act.
That would almost fit more.
That would be great. She could work with Saki, like you know what I mean. Like now you got Saki on OT, and then you got like they're playing each other's equivalents on the other side. I love it. You know what I mean? Like that's what I like about like because again you got your main eventers, you got your there's always a little comedy and everything, and then
Yeah.
there's just and then there's like your you know your workers, and you just kind of know the matchups when when it's Saki versus Tam, the rare occurrences we get that, it's like this is a Tam match. You know what I mean? Like Tam's gonna go in there and she's gonna kick the shit out of fucking Saki, but Saki might get her on a revival. It can just
Yeah.
happen. You know what I mean? Like, and that's really the story that's gonna be told. And I love that by Saki. Like that's the one thing. And we'll end it on Saki.
We'll end it on Saki.
Well, because we always do here on MPA. But
We'll end it on Saki.
but it is one of those things where it's like my favorite thing about Saki Kashima and her complete character, including her wrestling ability, is she has a shit roll up or a shit counter. And when I say shit counter, I mean like it's shit for the wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like to be
Yeah.
able to lose this way. Like it just tells a great in-ring like the story of losing to Revival is ridiculous for any wrestler to lose to, right?
It's a
Um,
roll-up pin, yeah.
yeah, it's so good. And so it's like, and of course Saki's got it. You know what I mean?
Of course, Saki's got
So
it.
it's just like this cruise control type of match where it's just like everything's going your way, and you should for every conceivable reason win this match, and out of nowhere, boom, Revival, and it's like +1, and she's out the door, and I'm just like, God, I love that. I love
She
that.
rolls
That's
out the
her finisher.
door. She rolls out, puts on her Nikes, and gets her Uber Eats on the way out.
Yeah, right. Gets her McDonald's. Like it's just.
Jesus.
It's
Her
so
freaking
ridiculous.
Instagram is crazy. Her
It
Instagram is
is. It's so
ridiculous.
funny. I laugh every time. I can't tell you how many times in the Discord I've just either mentioned or took a picture of like just another day of Uber Eats, McDonald's. I'm like professional wrestler, ladies and gentlemen.
I
Uh,
look at it like, God, woman, how are you not fat?
uh,
Why?
yeah, it's
How are you not?
sponsored. I'm telling you, she's fine. She gotta be. You know what I mean?
I
She's
mean,
gotta
she's
be
eating a
sponsored.
lot. She's
Getting the
only
cash.
eating McDonald's.
She's getting the
I've never
cash.
seen somebody eat so much McDonald's.
I've never been
I've
paid to
never
eat,
seen. I've
but
never seen someone eat so much McDonald's.
yeah,
And I'm like,
isn't it great that it fits too? It
it
fits the
does.
character.
It
That's the greatest
does.
part.
It's
And
like
everybody
she
wants to
shops at
shit on it.
Walmart
I'm like,
too.
no, you guys are
Like
missing the party. Like, this is where the party's at.
she shops at Walmart. She wears
Kmart Queen
Nikes. She goes to. She eats McDonald's. Jesus.
is the best.
It works because everything about it's like the basic, like your generic
Yeah.
stuff or the generic Saki Kashima.
And she's doing it all in pink, which is even better.
All in pink.
Yeah. No, it
Maybe
kills.
some black in there.
Well, you move the black in now, yeah, with the attire, but before, because it's not like this is part of her has changed. You know what I mean?
No.
It's like she's always.
She pulls up, she's driving a Kia Soul.
Exactly right. Oh, I love it.
Jesus.
Good old Saki Kashima. Everybody's favorite. Um,
Everyone's favorite.
everybody's number one. All right, well, that'll
Everyone's
do it.
secret favorite.
That's right. Everybody's secret favorite. Exactly. Oh man, this has been a good time, brother.
It has
Coming in
been.
on
It's
two
very good.
hours cracks me up. I
It's
love it.
been
I
that
love
long, man.
talking Stardom. Going on forever because that's the way it happens when you #watch Stardom. So, dude, where can people find you? What you got coming up? Tell everybody about the podcast, bro.
All right, so my social media, I don't really use it to post a lot, but if you want to follow me, it's at Zero the Crypt, Z3R0CRYPT. That's for the podcast. It's a work in progress, but my next episode should be Ice Ribbon, and I plan on doing that as a two-parter, sort of covering the 2006 to 2012 Emi Sakura era, and then 2012 to present day Tsukasa Fujimoto era in the second episode, and that's sort of about it.
Dig it. Yeah, I would. I tell everybody out there, check it out. What I liked about it, first episode, right out of the gates. You know what? Like 2 weeks ago, man. Like you hit Actwres, and you just went for I don't know what 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
About half hour.
Yeah, taking out or breaking down everything, that is Actwres, right? And just boom, just yourself doing it start to finish.
Yeah.
And I love that shit. You know what I mean? Because anytime I can learn, I'm 100% on board with that. And I learned something about Actwres, and it's like, hell yeah, because I want to know as much as possible about everything in Joshi all the time. So you got the time make sure that you check out everything that Kay's doing over at his podcast. Links obviously in the description and all that good stuff. For me, at Bigg Paws on Pup on Twitter, as well as at MPA Podcast. We'll be back next week. Probably talking Stardom because we haven't had live Stardom in forever. So next